child, then you will acknowledge it as such. You do understand me, don't you?
Don't tell me that nonsense. We better sort out the situation. I want to have a paternity test.
First one is that Lionel has been arrested, and I'm going to recover the money that he stole from me.
You should be giving this to the woman you're in love with. Where is she anyway?
I didn't know if you felt the same way about me. And that's why I decided to win you over through the blog I made.
Top of the morning and a beautiful morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us in the program this fine Thursday morning. Just exactly 3 days to Christmas, and jubilation still ongoing in the country following the release of the KCPE 2022 results that are released yesterday by the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Ezekiel Machogu. One of those things that he really did stress on is that there will be 100% transition to secondary schools this even, as KPSEA are awaiting those individual results that will be coming in January, March. As that will be happening, this won't be used for placement in junior secondary schools because they too will be moving 100% to JSS, that is grade 7. Good morning and welcome to the program. Stephanie.
Right. Merry Christmas. That is the season greeting. Thank you for tuning in. It's always a pleasure to have you around. You've stuck with us the whole year and we're approaching the end. So this is one of the reasons, looking back, to just be thankful and grateful for. So thank you for your loyal company. Today we have so much for you. Being Thursday, it's all about entertainment. We'll be having artists from the music and entertainment industry to come and talk to us about how it's going out there, and we enjoy some music too. So you have a lot coming your way, and you never know what we might surprise you with. So stick with us at KBC Channel 1 is where you can talk to us. The hashtag being Thursday, Entertainment Thursday. My personal handle is at Stephanie Ayeta. Marie.
Well, indeed, a very good morning to you. Thank you for allowing us to come into your home this morning and choosing to start today with us here on Good Morning Kenya, being the 22nd of December 2022, where we have a lot lined up for you in as far as the news is concerned, including the continuous coverage of the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education results, where we'll be bringing you the different aspects in as far as the results are concerned. Also today, the president will be in Baringo, where he'll be leading a goat auction there, which is normally a tradition, especially during this festive season. So we have a lot lined up for you, but first let's take that first break and then we'll be back with the news in just a short moment. My name is Marie Yambo. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Marie Yambo, and we kick off this bulletin with the news on the top performers in as far as the KCPE results are concerned. And Fuaro Makoha Robinson and Otieno Lewis Umodi have emerged as top students in the 2022 Kenya Certificate of Primary Education. Robinson as student at the Christ the King Primary School and Lewis of St. Peter's Mumias Boys Primary School in Kakamega both garnered 431 marks. Neighborhood Keith Ocheng of Elites Primary School, Kisumu, was third with 429 marks.
At Makoha's former school, Christ the King Primary in Bungoma County. It was song, dance and ululation as the community here celebrated one of their own, Fuaro Makoha Robinson, who jointly with Otieno Lewis Omondi outperformed their peers in 2022 KCPE exam. The 14-year-old says he's eyeing Alliance Boys High School, where he wants to chase his dream of becoming a software engineer.
I would like to go to Alliance High School, and after that I would like to go abroad to study maybe in Harvard, and I would like to pursue software engineering to make this Kenya better world technologically.
Mimi kama mzazi nimefurahi sana, niko na furaha tele. Na ndugu jamaa na marafiki pia wamefurahi kwamba mtoto ambaye nimezaa ameweza kupata hiyo marks. Ni jambo la ajabu sana.
According to his teacher, Makoha Robinson was a hard-working and disciplined student.
Tumekuwa tukitarajia kwa miaka ambayo imeenda, tumekuwa tukitafuta kuwa among the top, tupate tu Kenya 1, hatukuwa kupata. Lakini leo Mungu amekutunukia, tumepata Kenya 1. We are grateful, we are very happy.
Otieno Lewis Omondi Glenn of St. Peter's Mumias Boys Primary School in Kakamega County was tied at the top with 431 marks. Nimrod Keith Ochieng of Alex Primary School, Kisumu, came in second with 429 marks. Mwaneki Baraka Mumo of Kerugoya Municipality scooped 424 marks, while Karl Baraka of Saverian Primary School, Kisumu, Amani Gilbert Ongoro of Moi Educational Center, Mutuiri Ryan of Kathiriki Mixed Public Boarding, all tied with 423 marks. Nadia Chepto Kemboi of Kapsabet Highlands, Nandi, wrapped up the top 5 positions with 422 marks.
Congratulations are in order to the 3 of them and also to all the candidates who sat the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education. That is the 2022 class. Now, Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu now says the government is on course on attaining their 100% transition. While announcing the KCPE results at the Mitihani House in Nairobi, the CS hailed the tremendous improvement of the 2022 KCPE results compared to the previous year. This despite the 2022 cohort having covered their grade 8 school calendar in just 6 months. Timothy Kipnusu brings us details of that story.
While releasing the results, Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu revealed the score of the top candidate in the class of 2022 rose 4 points compared to 2021's top candidate to 431 marks.
In the 2022 KCPE examination, overall performance improved compared to 2021, despite the difficult situation that faced this cohort of candidates. We are therefore very impressed with the KCPE examination class of 2022 for performing very well and raising the standards.
All students who sat for the KCPE results will transit to secondary schools in a move that will see the government attaining the 100% transition. The selection of the candidates to be admitted will be concluded by 16 January 2023. With the proposal to have junior high school domicile and primary school adopted, Machogu revealed the country now has adequate infrastructure to cater for all students transiting to high school.
The newly constructed classes in secondary schools that were initially meant for the junior secondary school level are now available to ease our strained infrastructure in the secondary schools. We therefore expect to have a relatively peaceful path to the achievement of the 100% transition policy of government during the Form 1 admission next year.
The CS revealed that he will have a meeting with the multi-agency committee on 3rd of January 2023 to agree on the guidelines that will effectively ensure a seamless transition from grade 6 primary to junior secondary. The Kenya Primary School Education Assessment KCPE will not be used in the placement of learners in the junior secondary schools, but will act as tool of monitoring the learner progress.
I have directed the Kenya National Examination Council to upload the report of the assessment on the school portals in January 2023 to enable schools to develop strategies of further learning and teaching.
I would want to make a commitment that we shall continue with 100% transition of our candidates who have done KCPE. Already the CEO has captured the spirit of KCPE. I would not want to go back there, but we are prepared for them as they transit to junior secondary in our primary schools as guided by the
And we continue our coverage of the celebrations of the KCPE results, where thousands of students are celebrating exemplary performance following the release of the 2022 Kenya Certificate of Primary Education results. From Nairobi to Kakamega, parents, teachers and pupils said hard work had paid off, as evidenced by their excellent results. The celebrations were replicated in several parts of the country. Take a look.
It has not been easy for us because we have not been sleeping. We revise a lot until this time now.
The journey has been tedious, but I want to thank the management and the teachers. They had been working hand in hand, assisting one another. The management had been providing the materials until we are able to achieve this result.
I scored 413 through hard work and prayer. I would like to be a doctor when I grow up, and my dream school is Allowance Girls.
The reason I've passed my exam is because of my hard work. I have learned that one should work smart and not hard. And my dream school, I would like to go to Kenya High, and my dream career is I would like to be a lawyer.
My teachers and everyone, yes, and vile nilipass ni ku work hard na preparation from day one. Una prepare. Nimepata 4.8 na ningependa kuwa engineer.
I feel very good to score 405 marks. It is not easy. It is something that requires hard work, determination, prayer, and we should always be disciplined.
As a pupil, we encountered maybe challenges, but the teachers were always there to curb them. Surely, may the Lord bless them. May the Lord also be with the pupils as they came into contact with the teachers. They asked questions, and surely we expected good results, and the Lord did not leave us.
The results were out. I'm happy standing here with my son, who managed 402. I'm just appealing to the government. These children that we are having in academic school are the same as children in the public schools. So just take the marks that they have got, place our learners in good schools, don't discriminate by taking the public schools and leaving out the private schools.
Well, and despite the celebrations after the release of the KCPE results, the exams were not without some form of irregularities, where 252 candidates from 9 examination centers engaged in examination malpractices in the 2022 Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examinations. Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu said the pupils will not be awarded in the subjects they engaged in malpractice, thus their overall marks computed less the subjects. The decision has, however, been described as a slap on the wrist by education experts.
Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu says that the 2022 Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examination was conducted in a credible manner. Machogu says that this was enabled by the multi-agency team that was deployed to oversee the exercise.
Ministry of Interior, Teacher Service Commission, National Administration, ICT and Digital Economy helped to ensure that the 2022 KCPE examination was free of malpractices.
Machogu says that this was enabled by the multi-agency team that was deployed to oversee the exercise across the country. The CS, however, announced that 252 cases of examination malpractice were reported across 9 examination centers in the country. He, however, assured those affected that they will join secondary school and their marks will be computed minus the affected subjects.
These candidates have been scored 0 in the subjects where they engaged in such malpractices. Nonetheless, the affected candidates' overall mark will be computed as the mark awarded in the affected subject. The candidates will receive their examination results and will transition to secondary school. This is in the spirit of the 100% transition policy.
According to Henry Indindi, who is a lecturer, allowing the learners to proceed is a great move, but might encourage such cases in the future.
We also need to talk about integrity and how much this is going to affect the integrity of our schooling system. Because if we encourage people to steal exams just because we are going to subtract or we are not going to tally that particular subject that was affected, then what happens if that student grows with that habit into the future?
In the 2021 Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examination, 320 candidates colluded to cheat, but their attempts were thwarted.
Now, 4 papers, namely English, Kiswahili Lugha, Kiswahili Insha, and Kanyasan language, recorded an improvement in the performance compared to 2021, as females performed better in 3 subjects, with their male counterparts performing better in 4 subjects. Speaking while releasing the KCPE 2022 results, Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu said 6 subjects, however, were poorly performed in the 2022 KCPE exam compared to 2021 class. Kamcha Menza dissects that story for us.
Out of the 1,233,852 candidates who registered for the 2022 Kenya Certificate of Primary Education exams, 620,965 were males and 612,887 were females. The numbers translating to 50.32% and 49.67% respectively.
A clear indication that our country has achieved gender parity at the primary school level.
Education CS Ezekiel Machogu termed the overall performance impressive compared to 2021, regardless of the challenges faced by the pupils, including the shortened calendar necessitated by the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic.
I wish to thank all the stakeholders, especially parents and teachers, for withstanding the financial and the teaching pressures, respectively. They came with their shorter school terms as forced upon us by the COVID-19 pandemic.
In the exams, English, Kiswahili Lugha, Kiswahili Insha, and Kenyan Sign Language were well performed compared to 2021. However, the candidates' performance dropped in English composition, sign language, mathematics, science, social studies, and religious education. While females performed better in arts such as Kiswahili, English, and sign language, and males did well in science subjects including mathematics, science, social studies, and religious education, CS Machogu says there is a clear pattern in the gender subject performance that is worrying.
I wish to direct the quality assurance and the standards to find ways of addressing the gaps that might be causing the performance of either gender, as there seems to be a pattern where girls beat boys in specific subjects each year and vice versa.
Marsabit, Isiolo, and Meru had a significant entry of more females than males, as Turkana, Garissa, Wajir, and Mandera had more entries of the male gender. 31,494 candidates of 12 years and below registered in the 2022 exams, compared to the 33,627 recorded in 2021. The decline, according to CS Machogu, indicates that parents and teachers are on the right track in enrolling children in schools. The entries for 12 years and below are highest in Baringo, Wajir, Kericho, Bomet, and West Pokot. Counties of Garissa, Turkana, Kilifi, Kwale, and Mandera had the highest entries of candidates above 18 years of age.
Well, that story by Kamcha Menza brings us to our first break of the program, but we'll be back with much more.
going to give a grandchild to a Murat. And that child is lucky to belong to a wealthy family.
I don't know if the love you feel is for me.
Your child, then you will acknowledge it as such. You do understand me, don't you?
Don't tell me that nonsense. We better sort out the situation. I want to have a paternity test.
First one is that Lionel has been arrested, and I'm going to recover the money that he stole from me.
You should be giving this to the woman you're in love with. Where is she anyway?
I didn't know if you felt the same way about me. And that's why I decided to win you over through the blog I made.
Hapa KBC Online tunawatakia kila samasi jema pamoja na mwaka mpya leo na mafanikio mazuri.
Thank you for staying with us. Now, President William Ruto has said the government will ensure the police have adequate resources to execute their mandate. He said the government will also work towards improving the working conditions of police officers. He made the remarks on Wednesday during the official opening of the National Police Leadership Academy in Ngong, Kajiado County.
President William Ruto has asked police officers to be professional and keep off politics as the government moves to take care of their welfare.
The bigger role is in the shoulders of our security men and women. And we will support you. We will go out of our way to make sure that we make it easy for you to deliver on your mandate.
He made the remarks during the official opening of the National Police Leadership Academy in Ngong, Kajiado County.
Bwana IG, the ministry is going to get in touch with you so that you can tell us where you have adequate space for us to be able to build affordable houses so that your men and women can have reasonable accommodation and they can live decently.
The Presidential Task Force on terms, conditions, and other reforms within the National Police Service and the Kenya Prison Service.
President William Ruto on Wednesday appointed a task force to look into the reforms in the police service. Meanwhile, President William Ruto has commissioned a tree growing fund to ensure the country achieves the target of planting 15 billion trees in 10 years.
30 trees per year surely is not too much to ask. Even if we can plant 30 trees per week or per month, we can actually attain these 15 billion trees sooner than we have projected.
Kila sherehe katika Jamhuri ya Kenya iandamane na upandaji wa miti.
The head of state directed chiefs to focus on rallying communities within their localities to plant trees for posterity. As the country strives to achieve the 15 billion trees by 2032, President William Ruto has urged Kenyans to ensure they plant a tree each and every opportunity they get first to ensure we reverse the effects of climate change.
Ruth Wamboy reporting there. The Director of Public Prosecutions, Nurdin Haji, has called for respect of public institutions, saying they must be allowed to execute the mandate according to the Constitution. Speaking at the launch of the 2022 election report, Haji also defended the decision to drop murder charges against Gender Cabinet Secretary Aisha Jumwa, saying the investigator did not submit sufficient evidence to charge her.
It is during the launch of the 2022 election report that the Director of Public Prosecution, Nordin Haj, noted that undermining independent bodies was uncalled for.
It is uncalled for when certain individuals refer to constitutional offices as busybodies. The Constitution is very clear on the mandates of each and every constitutional office.
Faulting recent remarks made by the Inspector General of Police, Japheth Koome, on the use of excessive force by police, Haj noted that such action should be investigated and prosecuted to guard human rights violation.
And those who feel that the judgments or decisions made by independent institutions are going against the Constitution, then they are free to go and challenge those decisions in various forums. But to taint and to demean those offices, that is uncalled for.
On the decision to drop the murder charges against Cabinet Secretary Gender Aisha Jumwa, the DPP say they did not receive enough evidence from the investigator.
We have withdrawn it under 87A. The matter is going to the DCI, and if there is additional evidence to show that she was actually involved or she pushed this person to do it, then the case will, for that matter, will be in court.
The Office of the Public Prosecution, through its election report, indicated that 131 election-related offences were recorded. Nairobi and Narok were among the counties that recorded the highest number of election offences, with Kilifi, Kiambu and Marsabit recording the least number of election-related offences.
Out of the 131 cases recorded, 59 cases are pending before court and 49 cases are pending further investigations. We further registered 4 convictions, 1 withdrawal, and have finalized 16 files.
Now, President William Ruto celebrated his 56th birthday in a colorful ceremony at the State House, Nairobi. The president, who was joined by the First Lady, members of the First Family and invited guests, used the occasion to push for the realization of the country's forest cover. Teresa Mota attended the feat and filed the following report.
Fun, dance and celebrations rocked the State House during President Ruto's birthday. The birthday celebration was graced by presidential staff, children who enjoyed a series of events and different types of games throughout the day. The end-year party hosted by the First Family also doubled up as their anniversary. The First Lady congratulated the candidates and urged them to accept the results attained, and further urged parents to continue supporting their children and take care of them during the festive season.
We want to wish you God's blessings, and parents want to say thank you so much for the work that you continue to do, even in State House and in the office of the President. We appreciate you. And to those that did Class 8, I want to say congratulations to all our children, our candidates all over the country. I know the results are out today, and there are those maybe that did very well. They are celebrating. There are those maybe who feel they did not meet the target they wanted. Maybe they are a little bit down, but I want to say that in our nation, Kenya, every child matters, and we celebrate every child.
President Dr. William Ruto, in the celebration spirit, planted a tree at the State House to mark the day. He thanked the children that had convened for the celebrations and later on proceeded to cake-cutting ceremony.
I want you guys to know that I love all of you. Nawapenda sana. Mnanielewa? You people are great. You have come here to celebrate this day with me, and I wish you the very best. All of you, the children of Kenya, you are the very reason why as parents we work hard, we work smart, so that we can give you a chance to be your best. Congratulations!
This year's unique presidential birthday, celebrated by the 5th president as his first in power, was marked by tree planting at Ngong Forest, and later on the celebrations were concluded with enormous, magnificent fireworks.
Thank you, Teresa Mutai, for that report. We now shift gears to the business news, where the government has been encouraged to consider reviewing the National Trade Policy 2016 to align its policies with the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research and Analysis Executive Director, that is Rose Ngoge, says that this will help Kenya pursue free trade agreements with focus on products that offer Kenya high returns for exports and imports.
In October this year, Kenya exported tea to Ghana, its first regional export to consignment under the African Continental Free Trade Area pilot phase. Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research and Analysis is now urging the government to reconsider revising its National Trade Policy 2016 to align its objective with AfTA and other trade agreements. The revision, the Institute says, will go a long way in mapping out all products exported to and imported from African countries to inform export policies that will unlock opportunities for Kenyan producers.
The sector is very critical in the development process because it has a wider multiplier effect. It helps to absorb excess labor from the agricultural sector, but our manufacturing is vulnerable. It's vulnerable because a significant proportion of the farms are MSCs. MSCs have low capacity for resilience because of the kind of technology that they have, the kind of business environment that they find themselves, and even the kind of products that they are producing. Yeah?
This as the Institute projects the economy to grow by 5.8% in 2022, supported by all service sectors, including accommodation and food services at 52.5%, education 21.4%, arts, entertainment and recreation 13.7%, financial and insurance 12.5%, information and communication 8.8%, wholesale and retail trade at 7.9%, and transport and storage at 7.2%. To caution Kenyans against the high cost of living occasioned by the Russia-Ukraine conflict and the ongoing drought, Kipra is advising the government to increase irrigation activities as a countermeasure to soaring food prices.
We are able to focus attention on agriculture to enhance productivity, to bring in new technology, climate smart practices, and also to do irrigation. Yeah? This would help to enhance food production, and I feel that matters of food scarcity in the country and therefore food inflation will be something of the past.
The food security and climate change will thus become an important policy pillar in Kenya. As such, I agree with the recommendations of the report that building resilience of the economic system is a priority in enhancing the ability of the country to withstand negative shocks and stressors and recover quickly.
The report recommends sustaining macroeconomic stability with growth-oriented demand management policies and intensified COVID-19 vaccination drive.
Feed millers have been allowed to import 350,000 tons of yellow maize duty-free for 1 year to cap the high cost of animal feeds in the country. The import license will only be issued to registered feed millers who are only required to import non-GMO grain.
Just days after the government announced it will open a 7-month duty-free import window for rice and maize to cushion Kenyans against high food prices, the government is also set to zero-rate yellow maize imports. The Ministry of Agriculture says the move is aimed at reducing the cost of animal feeds that currently oscillate at an average of 3,500 to 4,000 shillings, considerably increasing the cost of production. To facilitate the yellow maize imports, the Ministry of Agriculture is finalizing the gazettement of a one-year yellow maize duty-free import window. According to Association of Kenyan Feed Manufacturers, the government has only allowed them to import non-GMO yellow maize due to the ruling by the High Court that stopped the importation and distribution of GMO foods in the country. The association says only registered feed millers will be allowed to import the grain to deter traders from selling yellow maize to residents in drought-stricken areas. Feed millers say Mexico, Ukraine, and Romania have ready grain, urging the government to speed up gazettement of the import window to allow them purchase the yellow maize in time before the supply dries up. Feed millers have been encouraged to consider supporting contract farming system for local production of raw materials used for feed production to lower the cost of feed and reduce the country's import bill.
Persons belonging to special interest groups such as women, youth and people living with disabilities say they are yet to fully exploit the East African market due to weak trade policies. The traders say the weak policies have locked them out of the market, calling on crafting of friendly, inclusive policies, reduce trade barriers and enhance integration within the EAC trading bloc.
New data prepared by the African Development Bank in collaboration with the African Union Commission shows that while the EAC is generally supportive of integration and regional trade, members of the bloc have retained certain non-tariff barriers that curtail the movement of people within partner states. Special interest traders say the existing integration policies are not strong on facilitating intra-trade among women, youth and people living with disabilities in the EAC bloc.
We know that in most companies that grow coffee, women do contribute a lot. But you find that since they can't afford to reach here, to reach like at the final market, you find that their story ends where? In the village. Businesses like Ndabaga Women's Coffee are now calling for crafting of policies that will strengthen the participation of special interest groups in the EAC trading bloc.
Kwa hiyo kitu kikubwa ambacho natamani kuona watu wanakifanyia kazi ni kutangaza haya maonyesho, kuhakikisha wanapeleka taarifa kwenye vyuo vikuu, kwenye maeneo yote, ili vijana haswa wajue kwamba kuna fursa kama hii. If I'm to connect with someone from Kenya with coffee, she might say, oh wow, you was the best, and I might say, oh wow, you was the best too. And you find that we can work together, we connect to those women from Kenya who grow coffee, as well as those in Rwanda, from Uganda, from Tanzania, from Congo, and South Sudan, and Burundi. According to the Africa Visa Openness Index, while the EAC had one of the highest openness scores in 2017, that grade dropped last year as member states increased and individual member states imposed their own restrictions, thereby affecting trade. Yanatupa nafasi ya kufahamiana na kujua nchi fulani kuna fursa gani. Hizi ni fursa. Kwa hiyo kuja kwenye maonyesho kama haya kuna fursa nyingi ambazo vijana wengi ningewahamasisha waje. Kuna vijana wengi wako mtaani hawana ajira. EAC member states have been seeking to align trade policies to enhance cross-border trade by involving special groups.
Thank you, Alan Aoko, for that report. Now, leaders in Tana River County have called upon the government to expand Hola irrigation scheme in order to accommodate more farmers and enhance food security. Hola irrigation scheme, which sits on 16,000 acres, has been underutilized with only 2,250 acres in use, hence exposing the rest of the land to land grabbers and squatters.
Tana River residents have been challenged to venture into irrigation farming at the Hola irrigation scheme in order to fight poverty, create employment and improve food security. As most of them rely on government relief food, yet they were capable of providing enough food to feed the county.
Hiyo ya kupanua upande wa irrigation itakuwa nzuri sana. Na watu wetu tutapomboa kutokana na mnyororo ya njaa na mambo mengi ambayo ya umaskini.
Maize farming at the scheme is done all year round, compared to only one season in the main maize-producing regions in Kenya, and the crop matures within 70 days at the irrigation scheme. Whereas in North Rift region, the crop is harvested only once a year due to over-reliance on rain-fed agriculture.
Sasa msaada saa hii mtu akija aseme anataka msaada ili awekewe tractor.
The county government has promised to empower farmers by providing tractors to prepare land and also support the farmers with seeds and fertilizers as a way of encouraging more people to engage in farming.
Kwa serikali tutahakikisha mbegu zinaletwa, shamba iko hapa, maji iko, watu wetu walime.
It's time for sports now, where AFC Leopards were held to a barren draw by visitors Kakamega Homeboys in a closely contested Football Kenya Federation Premier League match played at the Nyayo National Stadium. Former league champions Gor Mahia enhanced their chances of reclaiming the title after beating Bandari FC 1-0 at the Kasarani Stadium. The team lies third in the standings with 10 points, 2 behind leaders Tusker FC. Homeboys, who were held to a barren draw by AFC Leopards, are second on 11 points. In other matches, Ulinzi Stars defeated FC Talanta 3-0 at the Kasarani Annex, while Sofapaka drew 1-1 with Kenya Police. City Stars also drew 1-1 against Kariobangi Sharks, while Wazito FC played to a barren draw against Bidco United.
We wanted the 3 points. We came looking for 3 points, but we have not managed to get them. But we are happy with the 1 point, considering that we played away.
The league of AFC Leopards will resume in January, because in January we should have more players, and I should be able normally to train and to use all my group.
Now, Kenya retained their Mombasa Open International Tall in Model Martial Arts title after beating the Philippines to the second position at the Aga Khan Academy Hall in Mombasa. Kenya won a total of 185 medals, 46 gold, 54 silver and 85 bronze respectively. The Philippines are a distant second, bagged 11 gold, 5 silver and 18 bronze, amassing a tally of 34 medals. Korea, ranked among the world's top teams, finished third overall. They won 6 golds and 2 silver and 5 bronze. Next year's event is scheduled to take place at the same venue, and more countries are expected to take part in the event that boosts the country's tourism. Well, that's where we bring the news this morning to an end. But remember, we still have much lined up for you during the day in our subsequent bulletins. So stay tuned for news updates later on in the afternoon for our 1 o'clock bulletin. So right now we want to take a break, but we'll be back with more in the headlines as we review what's happening or what has been covered in the newspapers. So we'll be back in just a short moment.
Going to give a grandchild to a Murat, and that child is lucky to belong to a wealthy family.
I don't know if the love you feel is for me. your child, then you will acknowledge it as such. You do understand me, don't you?
Don't tell me that nonsense. We better sort out the situation. I want to have a paternity test.
First one is that Lionel has been arrested, and I'm going to recover the money that he stole from me.
You should be giving this to the woman you're in love with. Where is she anyway?
I didn't know if you felt the same way about me. And that's why I decided to win you over through the blog I made.
So Jerry's are too busy to cook. They are doing business.
So therefore,
sometimes men are drinking. Yeah, me as a man I can say. So they have to do mashakura. They mix for you, they put for you.
No,
and a lot of coastal women are wonderful and idle. During this Christmas week, I'm alone. All my relatives are either dead or in America.
In Minnesota.
In Minnesota.
Yeah, because that's where your people.
Walikuwa Minnesota, wakaenda Minnesota.
Yeah, it's hot.
It's getting hot in here.
I think Twitter has shifted from the old Twitter to new Twitter.
I don't care.
Hapa ni KBC Channel 1 Vitimbi, tunawatakia kila laheri katika sikukuu zote tuko nazo na mafanikio mema ya mwaka mpya. Na karibuni sana na nashukuru kwa kutizama Vitimbi muda huo wote. Mwaka ujao sasa tutawaletea mapochopocho. Karibuni sana.
Quick look on what the dailies are holding for you this Thursday morning, and I just begin from the back page of the Daily Nation with a bit of not so good news for the civil servants. This is as 4 allowances have now been marked for elimination from pay. This is what the SRC is now saying, and the civil servants are said to lose billions of shillings after this particular advisory from the Salaries and Remuneration Commission to scrap 4 allowances. These specific allowances that will be abolished include sitting allowance for institutional internal committee members, task force allowance, non-practice allowance, saying that this particular allowances or specific allowances are tantamount to double payment, and this is why the SRC is now mulling to scrap or abolish this specific allowances. Also, this verdict from the SRC just coming 5 months after the Commission's chairperson, that is Lynn Mengich, said that a review of the allowances policies will be ready by year-end, paving way for trimming of public workers' GC allowances and savings to up to about 100 million in taxpayers' fund annually. Remember that also this is coming at a time where the president has been very vocal, particularly when it comes to ministries, and this is in respect to saving at least 300 billion in ministries. So going by this specific allowances, if at all they get abolished, then we're looking at 100 billion, which will be saved, and that is just what the Salaries and Remunerations Commission is now saying. Also, aside from just trimming this for specific, they're also looking into capping allowances at a maximum of 40% of public workers' gross pay. So those are just some of those new directives being profiled by SRC there. Also, Court of Appeal judges to increase to 70 in new plan. We are looking at amendments of this is amendment of the statute law, where it will see at least 70 more judges being included, and this is away from what is currently there. That is the 30, whereby this particular law states that Court of Appeal judges need to be 30, but not fewer than 12. So if this proposal to amend the statute law is actually comes into play, then we are looking at a total of 70 as opposed to the 30 that there is. Also, this coming at a time where we've seen the appointment of the 6 judges. This just really came on the first day that President Ruto came into office. You remember these are the 6 judges that were rejected by his predecessor. We also saw some about 2.5 weeks ago, about 20 more judges were also appointed. We are also looking into the 3 billion judiciary fund that he equally talked about. So the increase of these judges, the money into the judiciary fund, just to expedite court processes, one of those key reasons as to why these proposals are being preferred there. And again, KQ, Kenya Power, to get 37 billion in state bailout. This is after the 3.6 trillion budget has already been presented by the Treasury, and this is the first budget of President Ruto, and upward from what we had in the previous financial year. That is 3.3 trillion. Now we're talking about a total of 3.6 trillion. And just this what is supposed to be going into some of this state corporation, including KQ and Kenya Power, is 37 billion, and what has been captured in this specific article is this amount is supposed to be going to bail out these 2 entities, or these 2 state corporation, and this is in this current financial year, to support restructuring at these 2 state-owned entities. You remember that over time we have witnessed the row, especially in KQ. Just about a month and a half ago, we also witnessed that strike by the pilots, and their main issue of concern as then was the issue of non-payment as well as poor working conditions. So when you see some such amount going to this state corporation, then this just perhaps to be going into curbing some of these issues also. The National Treasury is still set to spend a total of 54.8 billion, and this is to bail out other struggling state-owned corporations or state-owned entities, or enterprises, I should say. And this is also coming after the IMF, this is the lender, presses the government more to accelerate reforms at parastatals, more of whom they're making losses as is, and so they're just pressing the government to look into some of these state enterprises or parastatals to see how best they can be in positions to make profit. But you remember also in the previous financial year, or this just financial year that will actually be ending in June of next year, you remember we had a budget of 3.3 trillion, which saw us have a deficit of about 846 billion. And just before the recently concluded elections, you saw the 12th Parliament increasing that debt ceiling to 10 trillion. So much as we are looking into 3.6 trillion budget in the next financial year, the biggest question or burning question that remains is how are we going to get this money as a country, and perhaps what deficit will we have and how will we finance that. But again, remember that the president has really been very vocal when it comes to matters and issues of savings, and we have seen this taking center stage, the Hustlers Fund and the 5% increase, proposed increase of NHIF, particularly for those earning 100,000 and above. Also proposed increase of NSSF, as well as increase of the tax bracket. These are just some of the ways that we are seeing the state moot to see how best we can be able to cater for our own budgets as well as development projects as a country. But much as this is what the Treasury has set for that next financial year budget, we wait to see how all this funding will be coming into play. And also, governors and senators now say no to the new funding bill. This is a matter that also came to the fore on Tuesday. Remember when senators were sitting to look into Governor Kawira's issue on Tuesday, this also was a matter that they were also seeking to look into. And I'm talking about the equalization fund, and our governors have joined senators in supporting them to opposing this bill that is currently in the National Assembly. In fact, right now it is in its second reading, and this specific bill is proposing to provide a plan for administering and managing of the Equalization Fund, a matter that the former Treasury CS, that is Ukur Yatani, had provided those guidelines of how this particular fund is supposed to be managed as well as administered. But now this is what senators are saying, that this is in contravention of the High Court ruling. And also what governors are saying is that this particular bill is really flawed, and so they just want for the members of National Assembly to adhere with the High Court ruling in terms of managing as well as administering of this specific fund. Remember also the Senator of Vihiga, Godfrey Otsotsi, on Tuesday saying that if at all they are to go by what was proposed by the former CS Treasury Ukur Yatani when it comes to managing and administering of these funds, then we are talking of a total of 11 counties who might just miss on this specific fund. And this is why this fund was set aside to just cater for the high poverty area counties as well as marginalized counties. So that is what the Daily Nation is holding for you. Steph.
All right. So with me here is two newspapers, that is People Daily and The Star, and we want to just take a look at what they have here. And on the front page on both papers, it's talking about the results yesterday, the KCPE results, and just a brief of it. Girls perform better in languages and boys perform better in sciences. Special needs students improve in their performance this year. And CS Machogo says that all who sat exams should join Form 1 come next month. And the CBC candidates will have to wait longer for their marks. The exact time that the results will be coming is June 16th. We have the Kenya National Examination Council Chief Executive Officer, that is Dr. David Jerege, saying that learners will get individual reports that would indicate their performance levels in specific subjects. And he said the council will report on KPSEA at 3 levels. That is the examinations that were done by the grade 6 learners. And these 3 levels are namely individual learner for the summative assessment, then there's the school specific, and also a national report on school-based and summative assessment. So they will come in 3 forms. On the Star, still on matters education, they're saying that boys outshine girls. Same story still, and it has covered much of this paper. It has observed that out of the top 12 candidates, only 4 pupils came from public schools, and out of the 12 candidates, there are only 2 girls, meaning there were 10 boys out, 2 girls out of the 12 who scored above 423 marks. All candidates to be placed in secondary school, says CS, still the same matter. He warned parents against keeping children at home next month when they open for Form 1. He said fulfilling their 100% transition will be easier this year, given that most secondary schools now have an additional classroom that were constructed to host junior secondary school learners. So if you have a child who is set for exams, then they must join Form 1 come next year. Back to People Daily on the front page. Kenyans borrowed 10 billion from Hustler Fund as savings grow to 500 million. And we have this story on page 13 explaining how this has been. So this is a new milestone, as the Hustler Fund, of course, has hit 10 billion. And the debt repayment now is impressive at 3.2 billion, translating to 30%, exactly 3 weeks after the launch. And they go ahead to say that the savings have also crossed $500 million, standing at 828 and 9, that is in millions, at 9 a.m. yesterday. And Chelugui said the president will launch another product with a bigger portfolio in February. That is for the SMEs and micro businesses and startups that will enable them borrow from 100,000 to 2.5 million. And yeah, so people are looking forward to that in February next year. And lastly, on the Star, what they have here is on the probe on Mwangaza, that is the governor of Meru County. This is a story. Let me get to it. CS Linturi, why I met Governor Mwangaza. So people were asking and criticizing his association with the governor, so with the CS. So CS told them off against of course, the critics. He said he will continue working with all elected leaders across the country despite their political affiliations, as he discharges his duties as the CS. And we wait to see the verdict that will be delivered by the committee that will be presented to the parliament on the decision on whether they will uphold the decision by the MCAs or they will reject it. These are some of the stories making news on these two dailies. Marie.
Thank you, Stephanie. And the KCPE examination results that were released yesterday is what is making headlines on the Standard newspaper. The first page or the front page saying country's finest, Western boys tie to top KCPE examination. It's a story that we've covered extensively since yesterday and even today during our bulletin. You know, the top boys, that is the Lewis Sutien and Robinson Makoha tying at 431 marks. Also, Sasha Wanjiru and Lindell Mwender. Those were the girls who actually topped at 427 marks, also tying there. I think for me what is more interesting is the fact that the Cabinet Secretary for Education, that is Ezekiel Machogu, did depart from the norm, you know, and never really mentioned the schools or at least the students who topped the examinations. And this was actually deliberate because there's been a push for abolishment of ranking of schools, just to kind of taper some of the high stakes that happen that take place previously when schools have been ranked and even pupils are being named, you know, especially for those who did not perform very well. We've heard of cases of pupils committing suicide as a result of that, and so this was deliberate just to kind of tackle the issue of stigmatization, especially for those who did not perform very well. And this is not just for the students, but even head teachers. We've seen previously where head teachers have been attacked, if at all they posted poor results. So this was deliberate, and this was actually recommendation by a task force that was formed in 2014 and was led by, I think, former Education Minister then, Keleme Maria, where they said that there is need to review how the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education, that is KCPE results, are ranked, and to do away with the ranking of schools for that matter. So we did see that there was not much celebrations, but later on we were able to cover for you and at least bring you some of the students who topped in the examination. So that is a deliberate move. Also, the Standard newspaper here still focusing on the KCPE results. Mandera twins had always scored same high marks in exams. So just covering some of the students who topped or at least did well in Mandera County. And here they're talking about these two girls or the twins who have always scored the same marks, but this time one of them scoring 402, another one scoring 401. And the education system in Kenya does not only give a chance to you know, citizens or Kenyan children, but also foreigners. So KCPE, South Sudanese pupils perform well in Nyeri County. Also a story covered there where the refugee children are given a chance at education. Again, talked about the ranking of schools being abolished there. And Issues of insecurity have also been an issue when it comes to education here in Kenya. You know, parts of the country, especially in Rift Valley, have also been affected. Schools being closed, some students not able maybe to even sit for the examinations or being taken to other examination centers. But despite that, in the Standard, we see a story here where pupils excel despite banditry in Baringo County. So it's a lot of issues to do with education. Yesterday, the Secretary General for KUPPET, that is the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, did raise some concern with the fact that the Education Cabinet Secretary did not announce the results for grade 6, you know, the KCPE results, but I think he also clarified that the results will actually be uploaded in the school's portals, that is next year. And so the grade 6 pupils will be able to know their results and even be able to proceed to grade 7. So Akelo Misori there just expressing his concern with that and saying that it was at least it would have been good for the CS to announce the results for the grade 6 so that they can also feel, you know, appreciated or something like that. But yes, that is as far as the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education KCPE results released yesterday are concerned. So the Standard has actually majorly dealt on the KCPE results. Those are some of the stories being covered here. Stephanie and Doreen, I don't know, just to pick your, you know, opinion about the ranking of schools. What do you think?
About what? The
fact that this time they never, the CS decided that they're not going to be ranking schools.
It's such a good idea because you really rightfully put it. Sometimes some head teachers were castigated for not performing as to par. We had also that belief that from parents specifically, and also from some children, that if my child does not go to school X, which performed better, then they will never perform. Then sometimes you realize that also performance is not really negated to a school specifically per se, but again also just the child and, you know, the individual and the learning process and learning curve. So really, it's really quite a good move in the education sector because then also it just tries to create some form of balance, you know, for both stakeholders. You really do not want your child to constantly also be pestered a parent that I have to go to school X because it's a school that performs. School does not perform. It's people in the school who really, you know, perform. So really, it's quite, you know, the move there by the CS to just deliberately decide it won't be announcing which schools
perform better.
Yes,
and I agree with that. It's very good because I remember back in the days when I was in high school, you would be in a school, but you want to get out because you don't feel like this school is the, you know, is the school. Yeah, because you had the idea that you needed to go to a national school, and yet when you stay in that school, you still perform as good as you would have, as you would, you know, you would have gone to the national school there. So it gets the pressure away from the children, as Doreen has put it, from the parents, and just gives a level playing field for everyone.
Yeah, but I tend to, very valid concerns there. But again, you know, competition is also very good because it is what makes you want to do better the next time and all that. So, yes, I totally agree with the move, but I also feel like there is need to come up with a way that the competitiveness can still be there in such a manner that, you know, people don't relax and say, okay, I mean, the schools or the teachers, and say, okay, since you're not being ranked, so I'm not going to be in the spotlight, you know. So probably coming with other ways, not necessarily ranking students just based on their performance in class, but there are other ways. I think that's what CBC is trying to do. Like, you know, you might not be so good in class, but extra curriculum, you are, you know, other, you can be good in other areas. So I think they still need to inculcate some form of competitiveness or ranking, but away from just academics, and I know include other areas. Again, there was the issue that was raised about students who scored between 100 marks and 299, and that was such a large number. So that also is a concern in as far as our national examinations are concerned. And we see the disparities really in terms of, you know, you cannot really compare a student who does an examination in northeastern area, you know, the arid and the challenges that they have compared to a student here in Nairobi or in urban areas. So those are some of the issues that probably moving forward also need to be looked into. So yeah, Doreen.
Yeah, in fact, also the Kupet Sec Jen Akelo Missouri raised that yesterday, looking at those students, just as you've said, Marie, that scored 300 or is it 299 and below, saying that they actually, many of them, and they outweigh those that did score 300 and above. And you realize sometimes there's less focus on these students, much as yes, you're talking about 100% transition, but truth be told, yes, there's that guideline and regulation, but is it really actually what really happens? Yeah. Because good number of times, this with 300 and below, they always find it very difficult
to get
admitted. Yeah, to get admission. So much as yes, to talk about 100% transition, but also there needs to be a way to look into how to assist, maybe I should say, some of these students who did actually score, you know, this 300 and below, because we also really pay less attention.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of pressure on performance, so you focus on the ones that are performing.
Yeah, the ones with 350 and 400.
Yeah, and that has been the culture, so the focus needs to shift a bit. But I think with CBC coming into the system and 844 being phased out, I think the focus now will be all-rounded.
Yeah, holistic.
Yeah.
Ule mwenye anaweza pika ni yetu na focus naye, mwenye anaweza shona, you know, not everyone has a strength.
Exactly. We don't have a shortfall of talents or what you can do with your life away from just the marks that you get. So I think for me, the message to all the students who performed very well and are happy, and those who feel like maybe they didn't perform or they didn't get the marks that they really wanted to, it is not the end of the world. There is a lot that you can do with your life, and so the only thing you need to do is refocus. You know, still go back to school. The 100% transition that the government policy is being implemented is a good thing, you know, but yes, I do agree with you, Doreen, that there is need to do much more than just say 100% transition, ensuring that these students do really get into schools.
Yeah,
yes,
that's a very good message of hope, Marie, there. Regardless of what you got, there's still life after that. And just before we get to CAP in the headlines, let's look at, you know, one of those key statements that also came out yesterday from the CS Education, that is Ezekiel Machogu, also said that the Form 1 selection of this year's KCPE will culminate on the 16th of January. This is just exactly a week before schools reopen, because schools are set to reopen on the 23rd of January. And he said that this is so that to give parents enough time to plan ahead of that school year. And you can remember also there was that talk of perhaps removing that subsidy, sort of like going to paying of fees as it was. So then it's really quite a good time for just parents to plan ahead. And very quickly on that is the junior secondary school, JSS, the TSC chair Nancy Masharia also said yesterday that this set is geared to get 30,550 new teachers in January who will be posted to the junior secondary schools. This is just before that academic year of January commences. And she also did talk about 9,000 of these teachers who will be engaged on both permanent and pensionable terms. Remember, this is in line with what the state talked about, recruiting of 30,000 new teachers by January. And also just last week, the same commission, the Teacher Service Commission, was put to task by the Education Committee in Parliament to really just explain and outline the modalities that they were going to use to recruit some of these teachers. So yes, now they say that at least as we know from what was mentioned, about 30,000 teachers will be recruited for this specific set. And we also hope on the issues of training will also be looked into, because this was some of those concerns that were coming to the fore. Yes, much as you recruit them, are they equipped enough to handle this specific set of grade 7, 8 and 9. Good place to end in the headlines. Just exactly 8 on the nose. Plenty more coming away after this short break.
Doreen, just before you take that short break, I know you're coming back with entertainment together with Stephanie. I'd like to just take this opportunity to wish you, Doreen and Stephanie, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I know we'll not be seeing each other for a while, But do take care of yourselves, and also for you back at home, thank you so much for always giving us an opportunity to come into your home and bring you up to speed with what is happening in the news and all that. So for me, it's goodbye for now, but do take care of yourselves, and we'll be seeing you next year. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
kufulia nguo na kukoshia nyumba na andizalia. That is what she's worth to you.
George wanted to come over and take his documents, but I figured he's too tied up. Yeah.
So you offered to help?
Yes.
Remember, the company depends on you.
But...
No buts. We even told you he's single.
Ni hapo tena mtafuta kazi wewe.
Kamau, sitaki vitisho.
Convince him.
Nakikataa sasa nitafanya nini?
Wewe na yeye hamna kazi hapa.
Sawa. Umeamua kuomoka na walevi, eh?
Think you know it all, huh?
I think I've gotten what I came for.
Sit down.
Have yourself a good day.
You're fired.
So we fire them, alafu tupate wafanyikazi wengine. And then they are worse than the ones we have. Then what?
Then we fire all of them and get new ones.
Wacha mimi nimalize kupanguza gari hapa ndio client akikuja apate gari inang'ala kung'ala.
Good morning, Bariti people.
Hey, someone is in a good mood today.
How did you guys break up?
Tulua text message.
Had to text message?
Who is Jose in this case?
Hi, ex-boyfriend.
Why are you stupid? Even at the back of the class, you are still the president. No? Mother, Lady Antivera. Can I see you also for a minute?
Sisi kama wanavitimbi hapa mwaka ikiisha na ingine ikianza tunakuambia tu kitu moja. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Yeah, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
ile nice ikafanya ni walad kama Viking. Sailing in a deep sea, lines ilikuwa nazo zina flow, jo zingine zina double click. Nami kuwa mapishi, nikazipika zikatoka kwangu zikiwa double click. Chorus leo ni gani, pige post kiasi, nitizame ngani. Lakini kwanza na madavas, inashuka faster kama day ya Mardi Gras. Ili kokora, sio safara, get without fear. Me don't get a gear, me don't get a gear.
Bado niko ndani ya game, nikupenda wana feel na hata kailipi yaweza kuniudhi. Bado niko ndani ya game, nikupenda wana feel na hata kailipi yaweza kuniudhi.
Rusty G, Mr. Shake, bado sisi tupo game, tunafunika kote, tunasikika kote, twakubalika. Hatuifanyii hela, masela wanakubali, wengi wanakazana, hatuwezi kufanana. Tuifanyi kama kazi lakini twapata pesa, wengi tunawatesa. Garissa, Mombasa, mtaani tupo sana, muulize hata Santana. Bado twasababisha hata wakibisha, naifanya kama hobi, muulize hata Bobby yule wa mapesa. Wanda na Kitala na kubali huu mdundo, yeah, Mr. Saf kwenye beat.
Bado niko ndani ya game, nikupenda wana feel na hata kailipi yaweza kuniudhi. Bado niko ndani ya game, nikupenda wana feel na hata kailipi yaweza kuniudhi.
Ndoto since hizo days abafone kiwa mtoto, kini sasa grown, gurudumu la maisha bado naisukuma. Singeweza penya bila heshima, shukran za dhati. Mie niko kati ya wale wase wanapenda praises, tuna rise our own faces. Tukienda places, mkidrive bands, zero drive horses. Jana tu blaze, na tufanya bosses, tuna shine hata bila bosses. Wisdom inatupa freedom, kwa hivyo hatunanga nyingi cases.
Bado niko ndani ya game, nikupenda wana feel na hata kailipi yaweza kuniudhi. Bado niko ndani ya game, nikupenda wana feel na hata kailipi yaweza kuniudhi. Niko ndani ya game, niko ndani ya game, niko ndani ya game. Na hata kailipi tuko ndani ya game. Bado niko ndani ya game, nikupenda wana feel na hata kailipi yaweza kuniudhi. Bado niko ndani ya game, nikupenda wana feel na hata kailipi yaweza kuniudhi.
Jo, 6 in the morning, ilikuwa ina deep sleep. Dream ile nice ikafanya ni walad kama Viking. Sailing in a deep sea, lines ilikuwa nazo zina flow, jo zingine zina double click. Nami kuwa mapishi, nikazipika zikatoka kwangu zikiwa double click. Chorus leo ni gani, pige post kiasi, nitizame ngani. Lakini kwanza na madavas, inashuka faster kama day ya Mardi Gras. Ili kokora, sio safara, get without fear. Me don't get a gear, me don't get a gear.
Bado niko ndani ya game, nikupenda wana feel na hata kailipi yaweza kuniudhi. Bado niko ndani ya game, nikupenda wana feel na hata kailipi yaweza kuniudhi.
Rusty G, Mr. Shake, bado sisi tupo game, tunafunika kote, tunasikika kote, twakubalika. Hatuifanyii hela, masela wanakubali, wengi wanakazana, hatuwezi kufanana. Tuifanyi kama kazi lakini twapata pesa, wengi tunawatesa. Garissa, Mombasa, mtaani tupo sana, muulize hata Santana. Bado twasababisha hata wakibisha, naifanya kama hobi, muulize hata Bobby yule wa mapesa. Wanda na Kitala na kubali huu mdundo, yeah, Mr. Saf kwenye beat.
Bado niko ndani ya game, nikupenda wana feel na hata kailipi yaweza kuniudhi. Bado niko ndani ya game, nikupenda wana feel na hata kailipi yaweza kuniudhi.
Ndoto since hizo days za bafoni kiwa mtoto, kini sasa grown, gurudumu la maisha bado naisukuma, singeweza penya bila heshima. Shukran za dhati, mie niko kati ya wale wasee wanapenda places, tuna rise our own faces, tukienda places, mkidrive bands, zipo drive horses, jana tu blaze, na tufanya bosses, tuna shine hata bila bosses, Kristo inatupa freedom, kwa hivyo hatunanga nyingi cases.
Bado niko ndani ya game, nikupenda wala sife, hata kai vipi, yaweza kunikopi. Bado niko ndani ya game, nikupenda wala sife, hata kai vipi.
Rusty G254 in the building. Thank you for staying with us, GMK. And tumeingia kwa conversation, and we have Rusty G in the building, mwenye the owner. Can we call owner of the song?
Yeah.
And umetaka kuplay. Rusty G, karibu. And you're not a new name hapa.
Yeah, si tumekuwepo. Tuendelea kuwepo. Hapa KBC ni nyumbani.
Hapa ni home.
Yeah, hapa ni home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sasa ingoma tuanze na ingoma imetoka kuplay.
Okay, nini muziki na hobby?
Muziki na hobby.
Okay, muziki na hobby ni track ambao tumefanya na msanii matata sana kutoka kule side za Kitale, anajiita Shakes, msanii.
Shakes.
Yeah, so yani sometimes unajua msanii anaweza kufanya muziki, saa zingine ikaleta do na ikakosa kuleta do. So si tunasema kwamba muziki tunaweza kuwa tunaifanya juu ya hobby, lakini tunaweza kuwa tuifanye pia juu ya do, but do ni focus.
Do ni focus, lakini unafanya juu ya hobby.
So ukiona tunafanya sana hata kama ileti do, tunaifanya juu tunaipenda yani.
Okay,
yeah.
tuna get.
Yeah.
Music yako ni type gani? Unaimba gospel au unaimba?
Okay, mimi ni rapper first of all. So naweza andika anything. Naweza andika chochote, but I'm a commercial. Ama naweza sema mimi ni inspirational artist. Na inspire generation, unajua, through music.
Okay, so
lakini siwezi sema categorically mimi ni msa gospel.
Okay, so una flex.
Yeah,
mali inspiration na kupata.
Unajua kama unaweza andika muziki, kama unaweza andika muziki, unaweza andika anything. Na unaweza peana anything.
Okay.
That's why unapata wasanii kama kina Nyashiski, Sauti Sol unaweza kupea gospel, unaweza kupea commercial. So inategemea.
Before interview yanze ulikuwa unaniambia venye unatumia ngoma kutuma message.
Yeah.
And so tuambie, how are you using music?
You see, right now kuna issue bigi sana, stories of drug abuse kwa mashule mitaani. So unapata through music, sababu I run a campaign inajiita tuepuke miadarati.
Tuepuke miadarati
initiative, na hiyo initiative nilianzisha Viga County, but it's a countrywide initiative. So through music, hata Nakada washainipeleka Luanda about the same. Unajua Luanda kwetu ni place yenye tuko karibu na Maseno, so uko hivyo muziki unapata, it is easier kutuma message through music than kuambia wase kitu hivi na mdomo.
Mtu acha drugs zote ingia the same na ngoma iki.
Yeah. So tumefanya tours kadhaa thanks to mzazi William Tuva. Tumefanya tours kadhaa kwa campus, tumefanya tours za mitaa. So I think it's a good thing.
So unaona ina change lives.
Yeah.
My youth wanawacha drugs.
Yeah, so unajua ni kitu always pima, but message inafika home.
Create your awareness.
Yeah.
Umefanya part yako.
Yeah.
Okay, sawa. Ulianza music lini? Juu umekuwa kwa hii game for a long time.
Muziki tulianza before back 20 formally back 2010.
2010 officially.
Yeah. Back 2010. So my first album I think it dropped 2015. Then I've been working on a sample of singles, but in January I think I'll be releasing my EP.
Okay.
Yeah, so January inakam.
Tuchilini kwa EP ni ngoma gani, ngapi?
Ngoma ziko kwa EP ni moto sana. Kuna tracks kadhaa, but sasa kusema saizi ndio wasawa endelee kufuatilia, unajua.
Mbona mnakuanga hivyo?
Sio hivyo. Unajua ukishasema msasa atasema au msasa alisema hiki kitu kitambo. So unajua ni vizuri akupate kama surprise. Unajua hata ukiambia msana kuletea keki anaanza kuingoja, but ukimshtua keki ndio hii anakuwa ni surprise.
Sasa hiyo kungoja ndio inafaa. Mtu ana tune in tu pale kwa channel yako, baadaye social platforms zako ni gani?
Ni Rusty G254 kila mahali, but kwa Facebook unaweza nipata kama Rusty G.
Rasiji. So jumekata kutuambia songs ziko kwa EP, tuambie about your latest song. Walikuwepo.
I think it's, you see, I'm doing rap stock hip hop, so walikuwepo is a track in address maybe the generation yenye ilikuwa kwa muziki before and how they used to how they used to operate. So unapata kwamba kama msanii maybe umekuwepo for long, it's a song yenye encourage wase hata kama uko kwa limelight sahi, jua kesho kuna msanii mwingine anakam. So kama uko kwa limelight na kutumia hiyo wakati wako fiti, itaku affect kesho. Understand?
Na nimeona kwa YouTube yako hapo kwa caption kwa hiyo ngoma ulikuwa umeandika the song highlights a real situation of artists when they have fame and money and thereafter kitu tu unasema sahi. So wanafaa kudu?
So msanii kama uko pale top support wasanii wengine uko hapa down so that usikuwe kichekesho. Unajua kama msanii amekuwa top alafu maybe amesupport msanii mwingine, it is either msanii mwingine kumpick up wakati amerudi down. But kama ulikuwa kule juu then you enjoyed the fame alafu ukaona wasanii wadogo maybe hawajiwezi then wakarise, it is difficult because unaona hata saizi ukiangalia Kenya sahi wasanii walikuwa big, wengi wao wanarudishwa kwa game na wasanii wadogo. So kama msanii alikuwa anatitu wasanii wadogo vibaya, it is difficult. Sasa wanasema walikuwepo. Unajua yani nasema wasanii wamekaa sana kwa game but hujasaidia and then wakati umeisha bado nataka kutuonyesha bado uko relevant. So I think it's a contrast
Aigiani. So unasema story ya fame na wasanii, kuna wale tunajuanga ma legends, tunaweza sema kina
unaweza kuwa ni legend but hujasaidia. Unajua msaka mimi na come from Vihiga County. I think I've worked with so many people kuhakikisha kwamba tuna bring wasanii nini chini, in fact including the county government.
So mnafanya hebu sema tunafanya.
Okay, kwa county kwa tuko na ile tunatembea kwa sub nini tu kwa ward. Tunaanzia naanzia ward then inaenda paka kwa final. So tunaanza kutafuta msanii kuanzia kwa ward level mpaka tunafika huku juu.
So audition.
So hata saizi Vihiga County sahi, alafu kuna pia area na kama inaitwa Muhaya sub county. So saizi unapata kama mbungo huko home pia membrace art, unaelewa. So saizi kama kuna saizi kuna kitu anarani anajiita Muhaya talent show. So unapata nini through your initiative mnapata ule msanii mwenye hajaisikia kama alipopote. So msanii kama mimi maybe kama niko kwa show ama kama kuna msanii mwingine ako pale mkubwa, tunawa pick from there. Unajua it's easier because hapa KBC I think tumehostiwa wasanii kutoka Vihiga more than 10. Na hao tumekuwa tukiwatoa kule mashinani tunawaleta hapa. So I think it's just a good thing kama ni msanii na uko na fame saizi, it's good at least to support wasanii wengine so that tomorrow hata kama atakusaidia wewe anaweza saidia ule msanii mwingine ako down.
But msanii akikuwa top, which is good, I support wasanii wako chini. But wengine wanasema wana take advantage wasanii. Unajua kama uko famous unatafuta na watu ka 1000.
Wanatafuta na sawa.
So wafanyaje
unajua sasa wewe saidia kila msee, but unajua kama kuna structures, kama unaona kama saizi county government kama venye zina work sahi na wewe ni msanii ambaye maybe uko top, unaweza kuwa si the best but uko top. Unajua it is easier kupata msanii pale mwenye ameenda through your process, ukajua msanii anaweza akasucceed because obviously hutasaidia kila msee, but kuna wasanii wengine anaweza kupigia tu akakuuliza ushawishi, unaweza mnadvise ama kitu kama sasa sema saizi like mbunge wetu venye anafanya huko home, I think Mheshimiwa Mboko. You see kwa hiyo platform kuna wasanii wengi, but you see kama umeenda kwa ile event kama msanii, it is easier to pick an artist from there and then umlete hapa juu because utapata maybe hana production nzuri, unaweza mleta hapa Nairobi ukampeleka studio ama hata huko home kuna studio safi, ana record and then tunamsaidia.
Okay. Na so umeongelea mambo ya county government venye governor anasaidia. So unaweza sema saizi governor sahi na support talent art na county zingine zinaweza emulate nini from what you're doing to bring up artists.
Nini Kenya nasema kwanza kitu ya kwanza ni shukuru sana kwanza governor maybe Wilbur Oticho daktari, sababu alikuja na structure, unajua mwenyewe anapenda art. So akasema because haezi saidia kila msanii, uweze na kwa ofisi kila mtu anakuja kutusaidia, but alikuja na hiyo structure akasema ataka kwa serikali yake akuwe na kitengo yenye address tu mambo ya wasanii, naelewa. So I think counties zingine it is easier that way because unajua si kila msanii anaweza fika kwa governor, na si kila msanii anaweza enda kwa hiyo ofisi ya sports ama youth and sports akawaelezea anatakaje na wakamsaidia. But if it's an open thing then everyone can come in na at least mko na structure vizuri venye mnaweza expose these talents because I've seen so many counties zinajaribu pia kukama up, ndio na Meru walijaribu, ndio na Taita Taveta walijaribu karibu. So alafu sasa hizo unaona hapa Nairobi pia Sakaja amekaa na hiyo story ya festival is a good thing because unajua inaleta wasanii wengi pamoja. Hata kama atasaidia kwa hiyo platform, anaweza pata na msanii mkubwa akamsaidia. Unaelewa? That's the essence ya kuleta wasanii wote pamoja because maybe system inaweza kuwa hizi kusaidia, but ukipata na msanii maybe kama Rasti Jama venye tumekuwa na hii festival, unapata na msanii kama Kali ama unapata na kama Jua Kali, anaweza kudirect akwambie ukienda studio fulani hapa ama ukifanya hivi ngoma itakuwa vibe na utatoka, unaelewa? So I think it's a good thing.
Okay. Sawa hapo sawa. So tupatie ka rap ya hii song venye tumongelelea.
Hii walikuwepo. Okay. Bado tunabisha, tunasababisha na kubali tunatisha. Ona wamepagawa na hii haina dawa, walipewa nafasi wakashindwa kutumia. Mia kwa mia akashika usukani, hata wakilia tuwezi wachilia. Time yao ilikwisha, tunazidi kuwapasha, kimawazo wako chini. Akiba hayozo wangejifunza nangamia na kujekea akiba. Ukame umefika wanapiga makelele, tukipiga simisele wanashanga tuko mbele, wafuasi wao nyuma yetu. Inawachoma sana na kulika kama choma pale Kikopei ama Sultan Hamud. Wanapenda siasa, sera zao imara, wanashuhudia madhara wakihesabu hasara kwa hii biashara. Hawana busara, ukiwaona wakumbushe hata siasa ni ngumu, propaganda inaweza ganda na hata unajua hapo tunaambia wasanii aje, mimi natoka Bunyoro, unajua
hapo hivyo
unajua mimi ni Mnyoro alafu mimi ni Mluya, unajua. So kuna kitu tunaambia ngawase, tunaambia ni aje, nderange rapo hurule Bunyole muraulira bas sikale mwaharaka eli tuhuliole ndakabole pole simwaulira lihuo lyanje rasta basani hula banji lakini bechingani no butinyu ohunyola mbolangako kalabida mpare sana mwenye Mnyole amang'ondo amubeka mubondo hurula bondo na huo ndo mtindo mchezo weka kando. Rasti G254 Luanda representing manze Mhaya massive manze Bunyore, au sio? To the top manze.
Wame representiwa to the very core. Tumesikia tu French hapo mahali nini ama ilikuwa translation yenye umeimba?
Hiyo ni Kinyore. Yaani unajua uko kwa show kama hizi tunajaribu kukwambia msanii, unajua after tumefanya hapa Nairobi end month yetu ni ushago, unaelewa? So hakuna haja uko na fame Nairobi but home wasawa kujui, unaelewa? Because I think kuna msanii mmoja kwa kijiji akisikia nikimba Kinyore ama nikirap Kinyore, anaona kama huyu msanii toka hapa home na ameenda huko Nairobi na anaonekana maybe kwa TV, because huko ushagozi unajua tu it's a big thing kwa TV, unaelewa? So anaona okay, mimi pia nikiwa hard naweza kuwa hapa. So the essence ya maybe kufanyanga hizi authentic music inakuanga ni kuhakikisha kwamba at least ule msako mashinani pia anapata hiyo vibe.
Okay. Yeah. So ana relate.
So hata akisikia akitakuwa msanii si lazima unajua kitambo tukua na believe kwamba ndo make it into music lazima ukuje Nairobi ama uko msanii wa Nairobi ama umezaliwa Nairobi. But you see right now kuna wasanii kibao sana kutoka kule kwetu Bunyore. Saizi unacheki saizi hata nampea shavu sana boy wangu, I think atakuwa na headline issue ya tunaenda kuwa nao ya dini ya talent search. Kuna msa kwetu anajiita Harry Rich maze, big up sana bro. So atakuwa na headline hiyo show kule nyumbani. Tunamtakia kila laheri. Tunaambia wasema manze aje wajitokeze maze, kama ni msanii uko area, hiyo ndio time ya kujijenga.
Waonyesha talent.
Yeah, wakamu showcase, because unajua si lazima ati usaidike pale, but unaweza pata msako kusaidia pale because kutakuwa na I think kutakuwa na producers, kutakuwa na wasanii, kutakuwa na stakeholders wote, mapromoter atakuwa pale. Unaweza kosa kupata maybe kuwin, but msaka kwa identify na kakunacha na kakupromote because that's the essence your platform. Yani kuhakikisha kwamba wasawa na kam. So mimi naambia wasema zeni aje tuzidi.
Tuazidi.
Yeah.
So wanasaidika ku build network.
Yeah, unajua network yako ndo network yako.
Itakufikisha mbali.
Kwa muziki ya.
Hapo hivyo. Talk to us about utaomoka.
Utaomoka hii ni hiyo utaomoka ni ngoma ya encourage msee kutoka kwa kijiji. Yaani kama unasema kama unaona kama uko home. Na unafikiria maybe lazima nikuwe mahali fulani ndio nifaulu. So inaku encourage hata hapo penye huko tu, hata kama ni uko ghetto, uko ushago, hapo tu penye huko ukiweka tu bidii God atakubless na utaomoka.
Okay. Hebu tuongee historia ya kuomoka. Juu watu wanasema hii generation yetu watu wanataka kuomoka na siku moja, siku mbili. Umeanza kitu unataka iflourish.
Ile tunazambia msee kitu fit take time. Hata wewe ndo ukuja hapa maybe kuhost wasee, umepita through system, umeenda chuo, umefanya nini, umeenda kule, umeenda nini, umepitia hizo process zote ndo kafika hapa. So I think time pia ni kitu fiti. Wase waache hizo ni za kwenda haraka, because kama utaenda haraka hautaishi. Ukifika haraka pia utakaa sana. Better take your process una learn, because unajua music iko na vitu mob. Sababu kama hauja take time, haujui how to maneuver hii industry. Because unapata msana anakuja kwa scene, anaitwa na manager maybe, which is a good thing, but unapata yeye mwenyewe hajajipigania kwa street akuwe ile brand yenye anaweza piga biashara peke yake. Unajua manager akikuacha wewe unapotea most of the time, because wewe umeletwa leo na mwenye alikuleta mkakosana and then akakutoka. So unapata mimi naambianga msee, take time. As you take time itakufanya ukuwe na ile ulan hii industry inaenda aje. How can I make money from this? Okay, kama nikiweka muziki wapi ndio inaweza ikasonga, unajua, because unajua kuna msanii akona muziki kubwa but haimletei do, na kuna msanii mwenye hana muziki kubwa but ameweka kwa platforms zinampatia do. So I think it's something pia msanii anafaa kulani. So kuomoka ni mentality thing. Haijalishi unatoka wapi, na God akisema utaomoka leo, hata kama ina bana lazima utaomoka, unajua. Because unajua kuna sawa nasema ngati nisipofika maybe KBC ama nisipofika radio fulani sijakuwa msanii mkubwa. Unaweza kuwa msanii mkubwa because sasa tuna live kwa hii era ya smartphone. Smartphone inakuletea world yote hapa. So kama so if you are doing the right thing, KBC yenyewe watakuita tu because wataweza kukuona unaweza trend na ukakuja hapa. But ukisema lazima msaka kulete ama useme mimi mande sijiwezi, because I've seen so many artists. Unachekiwa sawa kama Mombasa kina Susumila wame create industry huko, mpaka wakikuja hapa Nairobi bado ni household name. So tunajaribu kufanya hiyo kitu kwamba msanii hata kama ako huko Kakamega ama kama ako huko Migori ama kama ako huko Vihiga, anaweza aka create fan base huko ambayo inaweza mleta paka KBC.
Okay. So utengeneze profile yako digital, uko tu na digital presence za kusell. Inakuwa ni fiti. Okay, alikosakanangi changamoto but pia una learn kuzi overcome. Hebu tupatie hiyo flow ya hiyo rap kidogo hapo.
Changamoto zipo kote, tusiwe wepesi wa kutoa hukumu, hata wenye elimu wanapitia magumu, japo hali ngumu usikate tamaa, kila kunapokucha wewe piga tu sala, Mungu wako ni mkuu atakupusha na bala, mafanikio ya mwenzio silalie mlango wazi, ama nikuite mwizi mbele ya Mwenyezi, sio wewe wa kwanza ni wengi tumefunza, lazima uanze chini ufanikiwe maishani, ila usisahau ukaleta madharau, lazima ufanye bidii ndipo ufanikiwe, usitafute kiki ili usifiwe, ya Mungu ni mengi alimshinda maingi, alilala maskini kuamuka ni tajiri, ilishangaza wengi uwezo wa manani, alishinda loto kuepuka tu msoto na kuhama ghetto kutimiza yake ndoto. It's Rusty G254.
Hapo sawa. And for Rusty G tuko na ngoma yako utaomoka ndo tunacheza saa hizi. Rusty G254 is where people can find you on social. Sawa. So that has been Rusty G254 ndio ngoma yake.
Rusty G, Double P, walikuwepo. Twende. Walitucheka hatuwezi, walikuwepo. Nyota yao imezima, walikuwepo. Kizazi kipya tunatamba, walikuwepo. Kizazi kipya tunatamba, walikuwepo. Walitucheka hatuwezi, walikuwepo. Nyota yao imezima, walikuwepo. Kizazi kipya tunatamba, walikuwepo. Kizazi kipya tunatamba, walikuwepo. Walikuwepo na bado sisi tunatamba, walikuwepo na bado tunabisha, tunasababisha na kubali tunatisha. Ona wamepagawa na hii haina dawa, walipewa nafasi wakashindwa kutumia, mia kwa mia tukashika usukani, hata wakilia hatuwezi wachilia, time yao ilikwisha, tunazidi kuwapasha kimawazo wako chini, akiba hayo zangejifunza na ngamia na kunjekea akiba, ukame umefika wanapiga makelele, tukipiga simiselo na shanga, tukumbe nafasi wao nyumba yetu inawachoma sana na kulika kama choma, pale Kikope ama Sultan Hamu, wanapenda sasa sera zao zi imara, wanashuhudia madhara wakihesabu hasara kwa hii biashara, hawana busara ukiwaona wakumbushe, hata sasa ni ngumu, propaganda inaweza ganda, na sasa imeganda. Rusty G minatamba,
walikuwepo na bado sisi tunatamba, walikuwepo na
walitucheka hatuwezi, walikuwepo. Nyota yao imezima, walikuwepo. Kizazi kipya tunatamba, walikuwepo. Kizazi kipya tunatamba, walikuwepo. Walitucheka hatuwezi, walikuwepo. Nyota yao imezima, walikuwepo. Kizazi kipya tunatamba, walikuwepo. Kizazi kipya tunatamba, walikuwepo. vipaji vya wasanii wengi kweli limefika kikomo, hawajui wafanye nini, sasa wanapiga mdomo. Walipopata wazungu waliwaona Mungu wao, leo hii wametemwa kwa mitaa, hawana lao. Wanakumbuka siku zao, wanajiona hawafai, na usipokuwa chonjo nao watakula gai, hata kama ni ndai ili wapate tai. Hili ni funzo kubwa kwa wasanii chipukizi, ukifanikiwa kwa mziki sasa hauna machizi, finali uzeeni utashindwa kupiga bizi, na huo ndo wakati utahitaji usaidizi. Ukiwa kibongoyo watakulisha ndizi, kama umepata ujumbe nipe doka mchizi. Ukiwa na hasira jifanye kama mkizi, hiki changu kipaji situmii hirizi, ndio flow kami msanii utapiga tizi. Pia usifikiri iko vile easy, kwangu mashairi nafanya kama kazi ili yalete sembe. Trust G
walikwepo na bado sisi tunatamba, walikwepo na bado sisi tunatamba, walikwepo na
I'll bet you all resonate to that jingle. Yes, indeed, it's that time of the year again where we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. May your Christmas sparkle with moments of love, laughter, and goodwill. And from the Able Differently team and I, we can only wish you a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous 2023. We will see you then.
We're going to give a grandchild to a Murat. And that child is lucky to belong to a wealthy family.
I don't know if the love you feel is for me.
Your child, then you will acknowledge it as such. You do understand me, don't you?
Don't tell me that nonsense. We better sort out the situation. I want to have a paternity test.
First one is that Lionel has been arrested, and I'm going to recover the money that he stole from me.
You should be giving this to the woman you're in love with. Where is she anyway?
I didn't know if you felt the same way about me, and that's why I decided to win you over through the blog I made.
Kufulia nguo na kuoshea nyumba. That is what she's worth to you.
George wanted to come over and take his documents, but I figured he's too tied up. Yeah.
So you offered to help?
Yes.
Remember, the company depends on you.
But...
No buts. We even told you he's single.
Kamau, sitaki vitisho.
Convince him.
Nakikataa sasa nitafanya nini?
Wewe na yeye hamna kazi hapa.
Sawa. Umeamua kuomoka na walevi, eh?
Think you know it all, huh?
Think I've gotten what I came for.
Sit down.
Have yourself a good day.
You're fired.
So we fire them, alafu tupate wafanyikazi wengine. And then they are worse than the ones we have. Then what?
Then we fire all of them and get new ones.
kwamba utajenga kanisa juu ya mwamba, na nguvu za giza kwamba zitaliweza. Uliahidi kwamba utakuwa nasi mpaka mwisho wa dahari. Baba, ona kanisa imefungwa, ona jumba limefungwa, wachungaji wakejeliwa kila kona. Baba, inaumiza sana. Kama ingekuwa zamani ungewapiga viboko, kama ingekuwa zamani wanokejeli kanisa ungewapiga viboko. Je, ungewapiga viboko? Kwani Baba ulitusahau? Kwani Baba ulitusahau? I wish wangejua umuhimu wa kanisa katika jamii. I wish wangefahamu umuhimu wako katika jamii. Kama si wewe ujengaye boma watafanya kazi bure. Kama si wewe ulindaye mji walinzi kazi bure. Bure bure. Bure bure. Kwani Baba ulitusahau? Kwani Baba ulitusahau? Wanafunzi wa shule wapachikwa mimba, usalama kwa wote, wanauwa kiolela, wazazi wa wana wao kisha wajitia kitanzi. Wanaume kuoana kisa ni mapenzi, wanawake kwa wanawake eti wanapenda. Sodom na Gomora. Inaumiza sana. Kwani Baba ulitusahau? Kwani Baba ulitusahau? Uliahidi kwamba utajenga kanisa juu ya mwamba, na nguvu za giza kwamba zitaliweza. Kwani Baba ulitusahau? Kwani Baba ulitusahau?
That is Sister Rains.
Sister Rains.
Sister Rains in Good Morning Kenya, and we want to know that song. Imetupeleka back. You get to meditate a bit, and then things that people have gone through. Kidogo, he'll be telling us about that. This is still Good Morning Kenya. Thank you for staying with us, Sister Rains. Karibu sana.
Nashukuru sana.
Okay, so this song imeturudisha nyuma kidogo. Una mood inashuka kidogo when you think about, some of the things that people go through and all that. What was the message in the song, ama the aim of the song?
Samahani kwa kusema hivi kwa sababu hii wimbo mimi mwenyewe nilikuwa studio, alafu kukawa na ni ile time ya COVID. Wakati ambao kumefungwa kila mahali, kanisa zimefungwa, shule zimefungwa, nini imefungwa. Sasa sisi tulikuwa studio tumetulia. Then producer akaniambia, una wazo gani kuhusiana na, yani ilikuwa kama siasa tunapiga hapo ndani. Nikamwambia ile kitu inaniumiza sana ni kwamba hata kanisa zimefungwa, maana kanisa pia zingechangia katika maombi. But anyway, we can do something. Nikaniambia fanya basi.
Alright.
Tukaandika hapo hapo, tukafanya nyimbo hapo hapo, yani vitu mingi zikakuja tu, lakini unajua dakika ni 3 tuko nazo katika muziki, ama dakika kidogo kidogo tu hivi. So we just did it.
Okay.
Yes.
So Sister Rains ni msanii inspirational pia.
Yes.
Tunaweza kuweka kwa inspirational artist because unaimba vitu zinafanyika kwa society na what not. So Sister Rains is is a performing artist, recording artist.
Yes.
What else am I missing?
Sister Rains is a businessman.
A businessman to top it all. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we want to know what you when you started your music journey, just about Sister James and music.
Mziki nimeanza mziki mwaka 2014 na ndio kama kwanza nimeingia studio nikafanya mziki wa kwanza unaitwa Mcha Mungu. Venye nilisema kwamba mziki nafanya mziki yote tu. Nafanya mziki wa kumwabudu Mungu. Wakati ambapo nahisi kwamba kuna vitu ambazo Mungu amefanya katika maisha yangu. Na nikiangalia nyuma kweli naona ni ajabu. So I just think of something, ni worship, alafu tushirikiane na ndugu zangu pale nje, we do a song ambao pamoja.
So yenye imekukujia ndio unaimba?
Yenye ambao imekuja ndio nitaimba. Ambapo ikija sana katika gospel, I have to be inspired. Maybe nilikuwa kanisani kidogo nikahisi kwamba uwepo wa Mungu, I will do that. Ama nataka kuzungumzia watu kuhusiana jambo fulani, I will do that. When it comes to love songs, pia niko katika mapenzi, tuko ulimwengu tu.
Yote ile.
Tafanya tu.
Okay, watu wanasemanga ukikuwa gospel unafaa ku stick to gospel na watu wako identify na gospel. Juu wenye wametoka, ama what is your perception or thought kwa watu walikuwa gospel wakatoka wakaingia secular and then wakapata criticism and all that? Mimi nahisi kwamba Kenya ndio tuko na hiyo ubaguzi kwamba kuna mtu ambaye anafaa kufanya gospel na kuna mwenye anafaa kufanya ile ambayo inaitwa ni we call it secular, sababu hivyo ndio wanafanya. Lakini mimi nahisi kwamba mziki ni mziki tu. Ulipojaliwa kuwa na talent au kupewa talent ambayo ikaandikwa gospel ama ukapewa talent ikaandikwa secular, umepewa tu talent ambayo ni ya kuimba. Uimbaji ni nini? Beat ambao utapewa, beat ambao yule mwana gospel atafanya nayo, bado ukiipewa tu utafanya na secular. So maneno ambao utakayofanya pale ndio itakutofautisha wewe umeimba wimbo gani. Now gospel is a good news. So if I give you something that is new to you, that's a gospel. Hapo kidogo watu watakataa hiyo, kwa sababu gospel wanasema ni gospel of Christ. So inaanga ku preach mambo ya Mungu in a song now. Kuna but I bet ina depend with the person now.
Steph, I can tell you today ukiingia katika muziki ambao tunafanya ambazo ni gospel, utatafuta Yesu hapo mara mbili tu. Utamsikia Bwana moja, alafu stanza nyingine utasikia Yesu. And that's all.
So imeitwa gospel.
Sasa pale amejilabel tu gospel artist. No, kuna kitu kama hiyo. Gospel must be gospel, inspired by spirit.
Okay, so that is what you define as gospel.
Yes.
Yeah, inspired by the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
Okay, great. So wewe umesema ukipata inspiration unaimba gospel, ukipata ingine love song unaenda na love song.
Hata katika maombi na kufunga. Kihisi kwamba nimetoka katika maombi alafu nahitaji kufanya, naelekezwa kwamba fanya huu wimbo, ina maana kwamba Mungu anahitaji mtu fulani asikize. Mmoja tu mimi niko sawa.
Inspiration means inua mtu.
Yes.
All right. Na umetoka kutoka pande gani? Juu na kusikia swali yako kidogo ni kikosti TZ, wewe Mkenya?
Mimi Mkenya. Kenya damu. Mimi natoka Kisii.
Na Kiswahili kidogo
Kiswahili ni lugha ambayo naipenda. Yes.
Sasa ni mapenzi ya Swahili.
Ni mapenzi tu.
Okay.
Afrika halisi.
Tuendelee, turudi kwa music yako. Umeimba leo. Tuambie kuhusu leo.
Leo ni wimbo ambao pia ni gospel. Yes, I've said nafanya gospel, nafanya hizi zote. Ila leo nimeufanya huu wimbo ulikuwa mwaka pia wa COVID pia. Nahisi ulikuwa mwaka wa COVID na tulikuwa nahisi niko chini sana. And then Mungu akani surprise, akanipatia baraka ambao siwezi bielezea kwa sana. And then I decided like I'll sing leo ndio kila kitu.
Leo ndio kila kitu.
Leo tu.
So mtu afanye kitu leo ama
leo nitamsifu Bwana. Leo nitamsifu Yesu. Leo tu, kama kesho haipo tena.
Tupatie chorus, tupatie kitu kwa hiyo.
Okay. Leo nitamsifu Baba. Leo nitakusifu Bwana. Leo nitakuinua Yesu
Hey, amazing.
Thank you.
Controller. Tuambie kuhusu controller.
Controller mapenzi, nimependwa mahali fulani hivi, nimependwa kaisi kama mapenzi imepanda kiwango fulani, and I was like, this girl is controlling me. And I decided to do a song for her.
So lakini controller sina masha mtu mwenye anakucontrol, yani talk hiyo kidogo inakaa toxic relationship.
No, not that way. Ni mapenzi ambao yanazidi. Yani usipomwona ule mtu unahisi kwamba haupo sawa.
Uko sawa.
Yeah, like now nahisi kwenda kazini lakini nahisi pia kukaa naye kwa nyumba. So
uko in a crossroad.
Yes, yani napenda tu nikuwe naye. Basi hata kama ni kazini tuende ofisini pamoja. Maana nakupenda sana.
Mapenzi pia iko okay. Na mapenzi watu wanasema mapenzi ni kuimba wimbo za mapenzi ni safe ama ni mzuri kwa sababu mapenzi hayaishi. Yani ni kitu itaendelea.
Ipo.
Una agree na hiyo?
Na agree kabisa, ipo. Yani hata katika Biblia Yesu alivyokuja ulimwengu na akaondoka, ile kitu ambao ali preach sana ni upendo. So upendo ambao ni agape love ndio tunazidi kuitangaza katika mataifa na bado katika ndoa zetu. Yes.
Okay. Kabla tuende kwa your latest song yenye tutamalizia nayo, tunataka utuambie journey yako imekuwaje? Umetuambia about your journey, but challenges zenye umepata, upsides zenye umepata, yani mahali ulifika uko na yenye music ni yangu. As much as unafanya business bado, lakini uko na hii niliitwa yani music nikuwe hapa. Na challenges.
Kuna challenges kweli katika muziki. Mimi naweza sema kwamba ile time ambao nilianza muziki ilikuwa ni ngumu sana. Hata kupata studio yenyewe ya kufanya muziki, si studio tu but hata pesa. Maana hiyo wakati nilikuwa nimempoteza mama mzazi na yeye ndiye alikuwa kama breadwinner. So ikawa ni ngumu sana, hata ikaelekea kwenda kwenye street. So pale ndio nilikutana na kata tu story kwa haraka. Maana pale ndio nilikutana na watu na wakaniambia ambao waliona kitu fulani ndani yangu. Wakaniambia usijiachilie tu kwa sababu mzazi wako hayupo. Simama tena, inuka.
Kuna hope.
Yes, there's hope. You can do something. Yani katika hiyo time sikuwa najua kama mimi naweza imba. So nikaingia mitaani pale, nikatafutiwa kanyumba kadogo hivi, nilikuwa nalipa shilingi 700 hiyo wakati, nyumba ya mabati ile. And nikaanza kukaa hapo, kufanya kazi kwa vibanda tu, hoteli, kupika mandazi, chapati asubuhi pale. Na nikaona kwamba nalipo shilingi 80 kwa siku. And then I decided like naweza fanya kitu kingine zaidi. So nikatafutiwa kazi nyingine ambayo ni ya wanaita askari rungu, watchman. And then nikakaa pale kidogo tena nikahisi hapana. So nilipokutana na mchungaji mmoja akaniambia unaweza kuwa mmoja katika kanisa letu. Basi nikaingia pale. Nilipoona watu wakiimba wakifanya nini, nikahamia kitu mbona kama
unaitamani iko ndani yako inakuvutia.
Yes, mbona kama naitamani hii naweza sana. Nikajaribu tu. Siku moja nikajaribu na track ya mtu tu, ile presentation. Nani ako na wimbo akuja hapa akatuimbia. So mimi nikasema niko na wimbo. Nikaenda pale nikapigiwa piano nikaimba. So nilivyoimba mtu mmoja pia akani-inspire, akaniambia wewe bwana wewe you can sing. Nikamwambia okay. So hapo ndio yani jani kaanzia hapo. Sasa mhangaiko kutafuta studio, ufanya nini. Long story. Labda tupate siku nzima ndio
itataka tukae. Na nini imekukeep going kwa hizo challenges umepitia hata kwa muziki venye ulianza nini imekukeep going?
Mamangu aliniambia unaposhika kitu na unahitaji kuifanya uipende kwanza. So mimi napenda kenye nafanya. Alafu ya pili akaniambia as long as unafanya kupumua katika ulimwengu you can do it.
Wow.
So mimi asubuhi nikiamuka nakumbuka kwamba I can do it. Hata kama challenge itakuwa aje, niangushwe, nifanye nini,
najua utasimama.
I can do it.
Okay.
So hiyo motivation tu inanifanya naendelea.
Yes. Okay. Now I want to know the future of Sisa Reigns. Umetupangia nini?
Kuna makuu. Sisi tuko na recording label inaitwa Rains Empire. Na pamoja Triple Options Record. Iko tu sehemu fulani hapa Upper Hill. Hapo ndio tunafanyia muziki. Okay. So ina maana kwamba tunataka mimi binafsi kando na managers wangu nina imani kwamba tunataka kubeba industry. Maana mimi kuna kitu moja imenikera, sijui kama imekera wengine. Wakati ambapo tunaambiwa Kenya hakuna muziki. Yeah, there's no sound in Kenya. Yes. So ninaposikia hakuna sound, mimi najiuliza viongozi wetu wanafanya nini? Wale waliotangulia kwa muziki wanasema nini? So now we decided like, can we have a studio whereby tunaweza shughulika, tufanye nini, we support these talents, zikuje pale tufanye muziki, alafu tuwatafute nyinyi, tuambie ni aje tuko na wasanii hapa. Tafute wale wengine tuambie tuko na wasanii hapa, wasikize.
So unataka kuconnect wenye wenye upcoming na industry, you know, the different stakeholders.
Yes.
To promote music in Kenya.
Yes.
So what do you tell wenye wanasema Kenya hakuna music, ama unasema Kenya kuna music? Kwa tuanze hapo, do you think there's good music in Kenya?
Wanasema kwamba hakuna muziki, lakini wamechagua kusikiza muziki ambao si nzuri. Kuna muziki zipo hata katika hizo nchi zingine. Kuna muziki ambazo zipo ambazo si mzuri. So ile ambao wamechoose kuileta juu ni muziki ambao wamesikiza sana. So hata huku tukiingia mashinani, our excellency governor alianzisha Nairobi Festive. But mimi nilikuwa naomba tu sana akinipatia muda nikutane naye. Nitamuuliza okay, sasa Nairobi Festive ndio hii hapa. Mwisho wa Nairobi Festive tuko na wasanii ambao tunapeleka studio. Ambao tunainua.
So what next after hiyo?
What next after hiyo?
Okay.
Isikuwe tu ni sherehe, wale wasanii ambao wameinuka watakuja wapige sherehe, wapige nini, sawa. Lakini je, tutapata talent mpya kutoka hapo? Ambao tutaonesha tuseme Nairobi Festive tuliinvest na alafu tukapata hii sound. So mimi naomba sana kama kuna nafasi tupate sound mpya na msanii mpya katika kila Nairobi Festive ama mitaani tukienda kutembea, sababu mimi nimetembea mitaani, nimeona wasanii wanaimba, wana talanta kweli.
Na your views are also shared with the previous interviewee mwenye amesema pia there's talent in the, you know, in the counties uko ndani mali watu hawapatikani, lakini wananacha talent.
Yes.
And for you, ngoma gani to expect 2023 yenye tunaingia?
2023 yani kutakuwa ni msimu ambao ni mapenzi itavuma tu.
Mapenzi?
Yani kuna nyimbo mingi kwa studio, kuna kolabo mingi na wasanii kutoka hapa Kenya kwanza. Maana mimi napenda nchi yangu kwanza. Alafu kuna wasanii kutoka nchi yetu hapo Tanzania, Uganda, pia tuna mpango wa kufanya kutoka Rwanda.
Okay.
Kufika hapo ndio tumefika.
Wewe unaenda across the borders. Umeanza hapa na unavuka border.
Alafu tunasonga kule kwingine kuhakikisha kwamba ile sound ambayo inahitajika imefika.
Yes. Utatupatia sneak peek ya the people you want to collab with. Kabla tufunge, utupatie tu ile ya tutamani, yani to expect.
Ipo.
Ya nani?
Mnataka niseme tu moja
sawa tu moja.
Okay. Ipo, niko na mpangilio ama manager wangu na wakishirikiana na watu wengine ambao katika ile ngazi nyingine. So Kenya ama nje?
Kenya nje, unatupatia moja.
Tanzania niko na Harmonize ambayo itakuja ndana. Kenya sasa, Kenya kuna msanii ambaye amjui sana lakini alikuwepo na bado anaitwa Amani. Yes.
Amani mwenye the gospel artist.
I think katika gospel ameingia gospel, ndio?
Nadhani.
Lakini okay,
Okay, so Amani, we have Amani and Harmonize next year.
Si nimewapatia wawili tu.
Okay, iko sawa. Fit Sister Rains.
Yes.
We'll be expecting that.
Yes.
Okay, and as we close, umimba wimbo ya Christmas. Si rahisi, we now have a Christmas song, but a Kenyan Christmas song for that matter, sung by a Kenyan. Nini ilikufanya wimbo hiyo song na hiyo tutamalizia nayo?
Ni producer wangu alafu na manager pia. Hao watu wawili wakishirikiana, yani kuna venye wanaweza nifanya niimbe kila kitu.
Powerful team, huh?
Yes, they are powerful. Niko na producer anaitwa Papa Emile, niko na manager wangu anaitwa Eva, na hawa wanamkanga asubuhi wananiambia it's time uende studio.
Ni masani sasa.
Yes.
Masani machache.
Masani kuna kitu manager wangu anasemanga at I don't know what is best. Mapema ndio best.
Mapema ndio best. Ndio.
So mapema ndio best. My manager anaitwa Eva na niambianga mapema ndio best. Can you go to the studio and do something?
Sawa. Okay, acha tumalizie sasa. Tumpatie social media handles zako afu tuingishe kwa song.
Social media zote mimi naitwa Sister Rains. Sister Rains Instagram, Twitter, kila mahali, Facebook, kila mahali.
Sister Rains, tuimbie kidogo tukifunga.
Christmas, Christmas, everybody sing. Hey. Christmas, Christmas, everybody dance. Christmas, Christmas, everybody rejoice.
Nimalize hivyo?
Iko sawa.
Niko rasi tu hiyo.
Watapata ingine kwa ngoma ndio inakuja. That is Sister Rains, and this is his Christmas song. Good Morning Kenya continues after this.
Boom.
wacha tucheze, wacha tucheze. Stop, cut, direct cut. Kabisa. Nasema cut.
Mama nakuomba tafadhali, kama nimefanya makosa yote na kuapia ni shetani, nisamee mama.
Umekosea nini?
Unadhani labda nilikosea kwa chana nini?
Wewe, muone hilo bichwa lake sijui kitu gani.
Tatizo ni mama yenu. Tatuua bwana.
Yaani mimi nakesha hapa dingo nikikusubiri wewe, kumbe mwenyewe kwenda kulewa huko
Umekula nini hawa leo?
So Njeris are too busy to cook. They are doing business.
So therefore,
sometimes men are drinking. Yeah, me as a man I can say. So they have to do mashakura. They mix for you, they put for you.
No,
and a lot of coastal women are wonderful and idle. During this Christmas week, I'm alone. All my relatives are either dead or in America.
In Minnesota.
In Minnesota.
Yeah, because that's where your people.
Walikuwa Minnesota, wakaenda
Minnesota. Yeah, it's hot.
It's getting hot in here.
Twitter has shifted from the old Twitter to
new
Twitter.
I don't care.
Christmas is all about giving oneself, sharing, and of course, making others happy. From myself, DJ Tabs, and the entire Backyard crew, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous 2023. Remember, Jesus is the reason for this season.
Wacha washuhudie baraka zangu zikikam, hata
sababu ya mashida. Simama jikaze unazo nguvu, neno la Mungu naloshikilia. Milele na milele utakuja kunambia, hauna kitu mtu wangu cheza chini. Cheza chini, hauna form ndogo langu cheza ndogo. Cheza ndogo, wagodi sisi tunajibamba. Tunajibamba. Legas to Tana stories za wanga. Banjukat, sao shida bana werukat. Oh na 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 na. Banjukat, waisura bana werukat. Oh na 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 na. Mungu wetu anatupenda, nobody put us asenda. Akisema atatenda, atatenda, atatenda. Wacha washuhudie baraka zangu zikikam, hata zichelewe mimi najua zitakam through. Na sifa zake Mola juu juu, mimi najua haso yangu siku moja itajipa. Wacha washuhudie baraka zangu zikikam, hata zichelewe mimi najua zitakam through. Na sifa zake Mola juu juu, mimi najua haso yangu siku moja itajipa. Walai ananibamba jalali, walai ajanangusha jalali. Yes been so loyal, tangu mimi nifanye vile vile. Yes been so loyal, tangu enzi zile zanaweza. Wacha washuhudie baraka zangu zikikam, hata zichelewe mimi najua zitakam through. Na sifa zake Mola juu juu, mimi najua haso yangu siku moja itajipa. Wacha washuhudie baraka zangu zikikam, hata zichelewe mimi najua zitakam through. Na sifa zake Mola juu juu, mimi najua haso yangu siku moja itajipa.
Dumila on the beat.
Gospel Warriors.
Nina furaha yani raha moyoni mwangu, nina furaha yani raha moyoni mwangu, yani mwana amezaliwa nchini Betlehemu. Hiyo yote sababu yetu, hiyo yote sababu yako, hiyo yote sababu yetu, ili tupate ukombozi. Siku ya furaha nikajapo na mandazi. Christmas,
That Christmas season, it's the Christmas vibe. Na si tuko hapa on that Christmas spirit. The things you're about to do in the next 30 minutes before we do closing day. Quite interesting on set just for that, amount of time. I have Esther Womboy, who is the founder of eBakers Creation. We want to talk about baking, the art that is baking. She'll also talk to us about her story, her journey, how she got into this, and how business has been basically even as you get onto Christmas. Just 3 days. 3 days to siku Yesu alizaliwa. Good morning, Esther.
Good morning, Doreen. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm good, fantastic. I appreciate it. I'm also in the Christmas mood, as you can see. I'm dancing.
Are you feeling nice about it?
Fantastic.
Excited?
KBC,
the holiday season?
As you can see.
As I can see.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I hear you. We want to get into all this, but before we get even to decorating, and of course, so we have Marie and Steph will be coming in a bit later. Lazima tusherehekee. As sherehe ni muhimu.
It's Christmas.
And the entire team. But just first things first, Esther, eBakers. Just talk to me a little about the history, when it was established, and why you got into this kind of space and business. Just quickly.
So, eBakers, my background is actually HR.
That's what you studied?
Yes, that's what I did in campus.
Yeah.
But eBakers is a bakery and confectionery firm that was born out of passion, out of my love for the kitchen. Those people who took their home science lessons seriously, clearly.
So not just for passing exams?
Yeah, so I just wanted to learn. I'm very passionate about healthy living. So I wanted to learn how to bake bread at home, but in a healthier version. So when I was in college, I saw people decorating cakes, and I was like, oh, is this how it's done? So I asked if it was possible for me to take up a course, which I did. But I wanted to learn about the healthier side of baking, that is gluten-free cakes, sugar-free cakes. So I did that, and then after like 2 years, I actually got an award, a Commonwealth Award in 2017 for baking.
This is just after 2 years of getting to the business.
Yes.
God was on your side, eh?
Kabisa. I do everything so passionately. Yeah. So I used to bake cakes that are wheat-free, like cassava cake, sweet potato cake, and stuff like that. But now in 2017, 2018, I decided to become a full-time baker, which was kind of by default. Maybe I'm going to mention about it later.
Yes.
So I became a full-time baker, and there was that need of, okay, we've eaten your sugar-free cakes. How about you can't do the regular cakes, which I already knew how to do because I had already done that course. So I said, okay, to do the two together and maybe to have two kitchens. We have one bakery on Kiambu Road, the other one is in Syokimau on Katani Road. So we do both healthier cakes and the regular cakes.
Depending on the preference?
Yeah, depending on the preference. Kwa sababu kama ni keki, people want to go the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, you know,
I'm telling
we want to feel the taste of the cake.
Exactly.
All right, so I want us to get into this decorating, and of course this, even as we continue discussing and talking more about this art that is cake baking, how the journey has been for you since 2015. Not a mean feat to even get into business and to just continue staying into that business. So what are we starting with first? We already have the cake. Already baked?
Yes, we baked the cake because I knew you may not have that much time. It takes some time to prepare and bake. So today what I brought you is our multi-flavored cake.
This is multi-flavored cake?
Yes, as you can see, it's in 4 layers. So that means those are 4 flavors.
Okay.
Yeah, we have...
Which are these ones?
We did blueberry, we did bubblegum, we did passion, pina colada. Those have been our best sellers since 2015, 2016. So I decided I want KBC to enjoy the same.
And I love pina colada. I will eat on your behalf. So just before we get to the decorating bit, this you've talked about the 4, what is this?
Flavors.
4 flavors. Just when you're thinking of baking, first of all, talk to me about these ingredients and just what goes into mind. Before we get to this, nakanga smart, talk to me about this one first.
So first of all, I know most people eat from the eyes first. Yani unakula kwanza kwa macho. But I'm very keen on, like us as a team, we are very keen on what goes inside the cake, not just the decoration, because anybody can master decor, but not everybody is able to come up with a good cake. So I'm the one
the baking bitches.
Yes. So I'm the one who've created these recipes, and I make sure, like pina colada, that means pineapple and coconut. So we use coconut, like fresh coconut and fresh pineapple. If I tell you it's blueberry, as you can see, like here I have blueberries. So we use fresh blueberries. So we make sure that every recipe that we come up with uses fresh fruit, because there's so many chemicals out there. And like you, a regular cake eater, may not know that people are using so many chemicals. So we make sure that as much as the client is not seeing what you put in the kitchen, our integrity does not allow us to put anything that we cannot consume ourselves. Yeah.
And you can actually only do this if you really love whatever you're doing and you have the passion for it and heart. For people right now, you're talking about a lot of things that we are consuming, not even knowing, and we're having all these lifestyle diseases. So which better way if you're into this kind of business of food and industry? Just make sure you're giving it.
And that's actually the same way. I'm sure you're aware that we also do like organic yogurt and Italian style ice cream. And even as much as we came up with ice cream, which is mostly sweet stuff, we made sure that we came up with the most organic way possible of making like ice cream, most organic way of doing yogurt. And that's why you find that our clients love what we do, because they know that whatever goes into our cakes is something we are free to eat and feed our families with.
All right, I hear you. Good job. So now let's get into the decorating bit. So our cake is ready.
Yes.
Just what are we doing next now? So this is already done in terms of baking.
So
what's the first step?
So the first step is to make sure that you wash your hands. So today I'm going to use
and
my
you're
glass.
donned in the correct attires for the job.
Like you have to wear this.
You don't have to?
You can wear an apron.
All right.
Because
what about the cape, like the one you're wearing?
Yes, this one we wear because sometimes you might have heard of cases where somebody saw some hair in the cake. So it's to make sure that you don't have anything dropping into the cake.
Okay.
So yeah. So
it's important to just make sure you're covered
for
well.
hygiene purposes.
For hygiene purposes,
Yes.
You
So
can
what
imagine
we have
seeing
here,
6 strands of hair and you are not believing what more is inside.
And you're wondering, okay, is it? You don't even know whether it's Brazilian or Indian hair.
No, African.
No, I mean the weaves.
Yeah,
So
I hear you.
What we have here is the multi-flavored cake. So the first thing is to prepare your cake board.
Yeah, just as you have done.
Yes.
Okay.
So you just make sure that the board is able to support the cake that you have. So
it needs to be strong enough.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, this is called a turntable.
The one you have there, this is the white one?
Yes.
All right.
So this is just a basic turntable that helps you to rotate the cake.
Okay.
Yeah, it helps you to rotate the cake. It makes it easier for you to work with the cake. So basically, we're going to decorate what we have here. You can decide to remove the crust or not remove it.
Whatever your preference is.
Yeah, whatever your preference is. My preference mostly is
to have it. To remove it.
To remove the
Why?
crust. I know most people don't want it removed, but I try not to to force clients to eat what I prefer. So I prefer to give you, like you see, you like the crust, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you the crust.
It's like, the crust, like that the bread,
Exactly.
You go for the
So we've put some cream to make sure
What's the reason for that?
Yes, I was going to tell you, it's because you don't want this cake to start moving. You see, it's not moving anymore.
It's actually stuck.
Yes.
Okay.
It works like an adhesive. So we've put the cream, and then now you place your layers. So the other advantage of baking in layers, your cake does not dry out, because the more you expose the cake to heat, it tends to overbake. So as you can see, I've started creaming already.
What do you mean by the advantage of making your cakes in layers? Like what you have?
You can decide to bake this whole cake all together.
Too?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's say if you're doing one flavor, you can decide to do that. But that makes your cake dry out a bit. And also it consumes more more heat.
Okay.
And also it takes longer in the oven. So we try to bake in layers. Also your layers come out bigger.
If you do it in layers as opposed to just one big...
Yes, you bake it in different tins.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I've put the cake, the layer that I want to start with, and this is called whipping cream. There's non-dairy whipping cream, there's dairy whipping cream. This is the most common one.
So this is which kind of cream? Just as you continue
it's called
doing it.
It's called Nanderi.
Nanderi.
Yes.
What does that mean? Is it different from the ones that we are used to, or is this?
There are different types of icing.
Okay.
There's dairy, there's Nanderi, there's buttercream. And buttercream, we have Italian, we have Swiss meringue buttercream, we have American buttercream. Those
actually
are
varieties.
Yes, it depends on what your preference is.
All right.
So it's for us now to educate our clients on what exactly you have, what varieties you offer.
For them to also know what to choose.
Yeah. So
what's that you're putting there?
Yes. In front of me, I have what we call fillings. All our cakes have fillings. So that means this cake I have here is bubblegum layer.
All right.
So to go with bubblegum layer, we use salted caramel.
Salted caramel?
Yes, caramel sauce. So we prepare this ourselves. We prepare all our fillings by ourselves. So I want to put this caramel sauce here so that when you cut the cake, it adds some oomph to your cake.
This like adds some flavor?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm not really quite seen.
Yes, they're different.
Oftentimes you just see the cream and cake on top of each other.
Now for us, we don't do that. We make sure that your cake is extra. We are extra.
You're extra.
Yes.
And these are of different types. This is a different
types of fillings. The reason I have different types, I told you I have 4 flavors here.
Okay.
So it's to complement the 4 flavors. So I'm going to put the salted caramel and just spread it so that when you cut the cake, it has that extra flavor in it. Okay?
There's something about it.
Yes. I told you we are extra, right? So we've put the bubble gum. This is...
which flavor is this one now?
This one is pina colada.
Okay.
You're wondering how I get to know them?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even tell which one is this.
I'm used to this. By looking at it, I can tell.
You can tell. How do you tell?
Like this one.
Because they actually all look the same.
No, they don't. This is off-white. This is a little yellow because it has passion fruit.
All right, all right.
This one has
a bit of
sprinkle. Yeah, this one has sprinkles because it's bubble gum confetti.
Yeah, I did notice it has. It has.
So, and also I'm used to looking at this. Yeah.
So you know.
Yeah.
And there's also something I'm noticing in how you are placing the cakes. There's a, the way that you bake your cake. So the part that normally is.
You're very keen.
That's the part that you're using to, spread the cream.
Yes.
Why is that?
Okay,
Esther?
because when you bake a cake, most of the times it gets a dome. That's one of the reasons we trim.
And we need to also make it really quick because we are beginning to get strapped for time when you have to finish.
Sure. The dome is usually kamlima kenye kanakuwa kwa keki.
Kama haka.
Yes.
Kamlima ndio hii. Sijui kama wanaona hiyo kamlima.
Exactly. So you prefer to put the flat side up.
Okay.
That's what I've done.
All right.
So I'm going to put another layer. The reason I didn't put in the lower layer, it's because I didn't come with fresh pineapple because ingeanza kuferment kidogo.
Oh.
Yes.
So for each cake, the fillings
are
as
different.
You go, different as you go.
Yeah.
All right. So this, which one is this one?
This is now passion.
Passion.
So I've put passion card.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have to actually prepare all this pre.
Yes. Because you can serve it hot.
So it has to prepare it, you let it sit for a while.
Yes.
And then you come when you're doing the fillings.
Exactly.
Okay. And of course this would make sense why you're using now the other side.
Yes.
Because now you're done.
Because I want the flat side up.
All right.
Then now we go to the decoration.
So now talk to me about, the whole idea of actually having the creams around. Sometimes you especially in the cakes of these days, you'd realize, I don't know if they call it skirting or what is it, the cream is not so much as how it were. You see the way you're just doing it?
Yes.
As is.
Semi-naked.
That's the word I was looking for. Semi-naked cakes. Yeah.
Now the reason is preference. Nowadays people, they don't love too much sugar. Kitambo it was...
This is actually a trend. You even go to weddings, you realize, now mbona hii keki haijamalizwa kupakwa cream?
Yes.
But it's actually a design.
Yeah, people don't like too much sugar. If you want me to do this in semi-naked, I can do it that way.
I think we should do it in semi-naked.
Sure.
Yeah.
So people have that preference and it is okay to have that preference because people don't want too much sugar. I think basically it. And also it's a theme called rustic.
It's a what?
It's a theme called rustic theme.
Okay.
Rustic, like rusty.
That's how it's called.
Yes, it's called a rustic theme. So, yeah, so basically you just put a layer and then you scrape it off. You leave a smooth edge.
As you're seeing. Actually, that's what you're seeing on your screen.
Yes.
Ukienda harusi uone keki na kadi ka unaona keki ni ka unaona cream. This is what it means.
Si cream tumekunyima.
Actually. The time I saw it, I was like, mbona huyu hajamaliza kupaka cream? Then you realize it's actually a design of the cake and going by the preference of the client.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
Like now, we're going to do that, and
Yeah,
we are
the
still
same
going to be able to put. We are still going to be able to put some decor on top, like Christmas.
Even
decor.
as is, because again you realize when it comes to cream, mtu atakata keki atatoa cream arushe huko
So I
akule
want to do-
keki. So this way
Yes.
again also part of why it's quite necessary.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Then what
this
are we
is
doing
called a bench
next?
scraper. You can either use, this is called a palette knife. You can use a palette knife to smoothen your cake, or a bench scraper. For me, this is the most important tool in my bakery. I use it for so many things. For cutting, for smoothening. Can you see what I'm doing?
And it's in plastic. Is
Yes,
it?
this is
Okay.
plastic. It's not even expensive. I wanted to
see how it's looking on screen. Yay!
So this is how easy it is. Now the problem is somebody is going to see me doing this and wonder, so why are you charging me so much? And you've done it in 5 minutes.
And that's how we began with the baking bit. Much as we
Yes.
just touched on it,
Yes.
on the base, the base, but you realize it's a lot of work. And also making those fillings, you just do not...
Exactly. And also, it took me a while to be able to make it this fast.
Yeah.
So basically...
To learn the ropes of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's not everybody who is able to decorate in just 5 minutes also.
True.
So it took a while for me to get here. Because somebody might wonder, namona unalipisha
I mean,
hii
since
keki
2015, you know, it's not
Yeah.
a short time.
So
it's
this
been a long
is
time.
exactly. And for me, I love decorating cakes. I love baking as well, but I enjoy decorating more because baking is more a repetitive process.
As opposed to decorating.
Yeah, decorating, we do custom-made cakes, like wedding cakes. And you see every cake is different from the other. So you find that they're all different, and I feel like it gives me that time to think of getting
when
creative.
You are into decorating.
Getting creative. You see, you can actually have it like that, but I'm going to add
You can actually have this cake the way it is.
Yes, but I'm going to add some Christmas colors.
Yeah, because it's a Christmas season.
Yes.
And I'm also seeing fruits. What do we need this?
Now those ones, we can place them on top. Most of the time.
What about also the blueberries?
I'm going to pour them on top when I do the piping.
Okay.
We call it piping.
Okay,
So I came with Christmas colors, and I'm going to show you how you can enjoy your cake without having too much of artificial things on top.
All right.
So this is green whipping cream. It's the same thing,
It's the
but
same,
in green.
but in different colors.
Yes.
So
I'm
this
going
again
to,
for decoration.
yes, so I'm going to pipe it all round, as you can see.
Oh, the Christmas colors, yeah. Green is a Christmas color.
So as I
The
said, you
Christmas
might
tree.
wonder, you did it in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
It takes a while.
Why would you want to charge me 60,
Yeah,
70?
it takes
Some
a
even
while.
go up to 100 and beyond.
Yes, especially for wedding cakes. They take a while to prepare because there's a lot that goes into wedding cakes.
Yeah.
There's something called dowelling. There are some things you find inside a cake. Zingine zinakaa miti, some look like straws or something like that.
Tiny balls, is it?
No.
Inside the cake?
Yes, zimesimama hivi. Like it's to give support to the cake.
Oh,
yes.
Because also how big they normally are.
Yes, and
All
because
right.
you're stacking them up, hiyo kuekelea gorofa. So I want to decorate the top bit of it. So what I'm doing, they're called rosettes. You want to try?
Why not?
Come. I want to see how much you've mastered in those few minutes.
And I'm not done in the correct...
Just do your thing. Cake is an art. Okay, you need to squeeze some more. Okay.
Some more.
See, you're getting it.
Yay!
You're such a fast learner. Ni vile unaogopa.
Sijava gloves kama wewe.
Yeah, but you're really doing it so well.
Yeah, and that was very fast. Then we can add some more around here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That actually takes some people some time to master.
You mean?
Yes.
All right.
You're such a fast learner.
I did well.
Yeah. So I'm just going to add some decor here so that I'm going to add some fruits on top and I want them to hold.
We're talking about these ones now.
You can add those ones. We can add the blueberries because the top layer was actually blueberry, if you remember.
Yeah. So how do we do the blueberry? How do we do it? I want to also do that one. Now that I've realized I can actually do it.
We call it a dam.
All right.
So I've created like a fence outside. So I want you to pour these blueberries hapa juu so that the person who cuts this cake, they get to enjoy this plus the top layer.
So I pour it round anyhow?
Yes.
Anyhow?
Yes. Just make it decorative. That's it.
This is quite interesting.
You see, you even know how to spread. I wish you haven't been a baker.
I try.
Okay.
I actually do try. Lakini natoanka imeungua. Hapo chini.
You need to reduce your heat.
And I want us to also, if you have time, we'll talk about that, because also saw some questions that Kenyans were asking in respect to this baking. But why is my cake sunken? You know, some of those questions,
Sinking sana sana ni kwa sababu ya when you
I feel tu nimefanya kiamateur style.
No, it's okay. Sinking is mostly maybe you opened the oven when the cake was not even halfway done. Or let me see. Yeah, mostly banging the oven, putting too much liquid. Too much of one of the liquid. You know, there are eggs, kuna maziwa. Kuna wenye wanekanga maji.
Yeah,
if you put too much
essence,
liquid,
if you're doing
the
essence. Like
no, not essence. Essence inekangwa kidogo sana.
Kidogo sana. Like a half or a quarter, depending on how you measure. And the size or
usually, okay, the mistake people do in baking,
to actually make it sunken, mostly.
Shida yenye watu wanafanyanga na baking ni kufanya measurements bila recipe. Like you
so
bake
that's the
without
first thing you also need.
You need a recipe.
Like you're making pina colada.
Yes.
You know this is what you need.
Yeah,
these are the correct measurements.
Exactly. Like for a 1 kg vanilla cake, you need to know how much, let's say, how much sugar goes into it, how much flour. So I want to use these fruits because we decided we're going to with the rustic theme. It's good for us to add some fruits because we
to
are
make it look more.
Yes. So.
So you're telling me that that's one of the biggest problems there, or issues, that you do not really measure.
Yeah.
So then when you're measuring, you really need to have your measuring.
You need a weighing scale.
What about those basics?
You can
baking?
Use measuring cup.
Measuring cup.
Imagine they're not expensive.
Use those to measuring cups.
Yeah, they go for about.
Si measure at your ancestor tasema, you know the way we do even salt.
Some people when I tell them you use a measuring cup, ananiambia ile kikombe yangu ya chai.
No, that's not the one you're talking about.
Sasa unajua kikombe ya chai kuna zile za mabati za kitambo na kuna hizi za siku hizi, so I don't know which one exactly you're referring to. So you're going to use.
I think at this point I'll actually also wear the gloves.
Yeah. So that you can.
So that I can also
get to decorate.
Yeah.
See, I've given you a free lesson today.
I'm telling you, I'm not even paid. And actually also do training.
Yes, we do. We train. We have lots of people we've trained. Just paste them so that looks uniform.
All right.
Yeah. When you're baking, cake baking is an art. So you just get creative, provided it looks good. So we do training.
What pleases your eyes?
Yes. We do trainings for yogurt, for ice cream, we have baking classes.
Aki mimi yangu ona cream inashika
because you pushed it too hard.
Really?
Yes.
So I just need to place it.
Yes.
Na zangu zimekaribiana sana.
Yeah, you look at the first one that you put. That's what is going to guide you on how you put the next one. Sasa umeanza kuogopa kuwekelea.
So nani nikitoka nje.
Your cream should be what supports the cake. Yeah.
The fruit.
Yeah, just place it like that.
See why they charge how much they do?
Yeah.
It's because of some of these things.
Exactly, because once I train you,
you can be able to do it now.
Yes, and also I make sure I mentor you until you've perfected.
Yeah, because they also do mentorship.
Yes.
Talk to me a bit about that as well, Esther.
So let me say, first of all, my training was born out of realizing that it took me so long to perfect my art.
Yeah.
Because you can even put down here.
Here?
Yeah. Because people are not like that. Let me show you. I tell you, baking is an art.
It's true. Nimeekelea too.
Yeah. Just place it in a way that it's going to look
supported
beautiful.
By the,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I realized that it took me so long for me to get where I am because not everybody is very generous with information.
That's true. So people just want to know by themselves, eh?
Yeah, they will teach you one thing and what they do something different.
Outshine.
Yes. So I thought, I wish I knew all these things that I know today.
Wow.
What if I do? You see?
Yeah. Hey, now Steph and Marie, where are you? Stephanie and Marie should come.
So I was like, what if?
Should come on board now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, what if somebody else, you don't have to put this, it's going to be too much, but I always have extra.
Yeah. We are here.
You came, umekuja kukula.
Came right on time.
Wow.
The business that brought me here.
Steph has come right on time.
Yes,
wale
kabisa.
wageni wa Christmas wanagonganga tu hiyo asubuhi.
Unaona, she just waited.
Maria, right on time.
I could not miss this.
You didn't want to be part of the process, but you want to be part of
the eating.
It's all right. Mkoengi, by the way.
Reminds me of how we keep saying in this generation of ours.
Yeah. One more
if there's
thing
something you want to do away with, is the process of things.
I'm telling you, they like shortcuts. But it's okay. We are here for you.
You know, with the cake, lazima iende up mahali and we are here for
Haiwezi kaa hapa pia kwa hii meza.
Tengeneza wote.
And if you've noticed, I'm trying to move everything.
Okay.
Hygiene is very important.
Yeah, so
when you're doing any kind of...
Ukishamaliza,
you just clean. For us, we believe in clean as you go.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we like cleaning as you go because the next person who comes must leave the place as clean as they found it or even better.
Let me help you.
Yeah.
Do you have another? Yeah.
Amazing. Looks so nice.
Looks like you can eat.
She said she wanted a semi-naked
That's
cake.
a new skill.
I've learned a new skill of decorating.
You know?
She said you learned a new skill. She came to it.
So even as you have, like, is it 5 or 6 minutes we close the show? I mean, it's also a good time to just do some reflections. You know, Marie closed us off and we're also closing again. And it's a good time to just reflect before we close the year. Marie, what are you grateful to God about? What are you grateful to, you know, just... Mamaliza 2022.
Definitely, 2022 is coming to an end just like that. I mean, it was January 2022 and all that. So I'm definitely grateful for a lot, but most importantly, I'm grateful for life.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for good health. I'm grateful for family because some of these things that there are things that you cannot buy with money. You know? So in as much as we are grateful for this job that God has given us, we are able to take care of our families, but we're also grateful for those things that are free.
It's true.
So I'm totally grateful for the opportunities, family, and just good health.
Well said, well said.
Yeah, and I agree with Marie. There's so many things that we share. Yeah, actually everything. Grateful for life, for good health, the things that we take for granted most times. And even hope, having hope, because, you know, people have died by suicide, depression, there's been so many things. But the fact that I have a hope for future, tomorrow, despite the failures during the year, and just coming back up and knowing that things will be better, that's something I'm also grateful for. And for just God, everything, for all that God has provided for me.
And you know, Stephanie, you just said something, failure, but I think I'm older than you guys. So.
Really? Wisdom.
Look at life really as failure, but these are just challenges. So it's just a learning process. Nobody has ever been successful without, in quotes, failure. So
it's true.
It's a learning process.
It's true.
Yeah, and it's something more so as we say, we celebrate, but also for our KCPE candidates who just received the results. It is just telling you something else needs to be done to get to where you want. So
exactly.
You know, when Marie said I'm older than you, it actually just reminds me of how I honor you for that, because you see, sometimes we tend to overlook people that have gone before us and ahead of us, and I always keep saying you can never undo a process. And you must always appreciate experience. I keep saying you might think you know it best, and yes, you could be talented into things, but those that have gone before you, trust me, they know so much.
Talent is one thing, experience is something
different. It's true.
Today you're here doing the baking and all that. I mean, the last time I baked, okay, fine, a little bit at home, but on a serious note, when in school, we're doing home science, you have to do the exams, that's the end of it. But I cannot buy that experience.
Exactly.
You have to go through this.
It's taken time to get.
That's why I always say, for those that have always gone, I usually honor them. It's very important also just be in the midst of someone who's been there before, you know, like you, Marie. You know, some of these things that you do, like you say, talent is a different story, experience that is a whole different trajectory. So for that also, and for this opportunity to be here, to still be on this show, the growth, for me especially the growth, I'm just grateful to God about that. It's you don't take such things as such for granted. And for those that believe in you, you know, we usually say just take someone to believe in your ability.
It's true.
And the moment they do, you run with it like you'll never run with it again.
Like you did.
I did. I choose to run with this. And I'm grateful to God for that. You know, just for the what all of you have said, very important. Grateful for life. Because I mean, also without that life, how would you run with this opportunities. So again, it's also one of those very important things. And family, the things you can never exchange for anything.
Yeah, family.
Family is
things you one of them.
Yeah, Esther, as before to cut a cake, you lazima tukule cake.
Oh, you want me to know? So what I'm grateful for so much. Like have a business that I've been able to sustain this far. Most importantly, I'm grateful because God has given me amazing students that keep motivating me every day to keep going. I've been able to mentor over 700 people all over the country and train them. For me to see that I'm able to change a life, create employment all over the country through my skills, for me, I'm really grateful to God for giving me that platform to be able to empower people, to inspire somebody, to change a life. And also to save so many, because I told you also I'm into advocacy when it comes to gender-based violence.
We'll talk about
so those are my students as well.
We have to finish at this point, and you have to cut the cake. We have to cut the cake.
You have to make sure you've done that,
yes,
right?
Yes, before we actually close. But we're closing just like, what, 45 seconds, and we have to do that before we close.
So Esther cuts the cake. Maybe a word for our candidates, especially the ones who are going to have finished Form 4. You know,
you can just
there is this notion that I have to wait, go to college, then probably the university, then I'll get employed. But this is something that you can actually learn and earn a living out of.
Sure, and doesn't require you to have a degree.
Esther just said, you know, her practice or her career was HR, but this is now what she has chosen as her career.
This is what has, I don't do HR anymore.
Yeah, this is now what sustains you. And look at the millions that you're now touching as a result of this.
Exactly. Help me hold this, the board.
And that also means parents need to really
be supportive to that. And encourage people. You don't have to do an office job, because it's not everybody who is passionate about doing office jobs. In fact, kazi ya mikono inalipa sana. You can work anywhere in the world, you know?
It's true. Because you just carry a skill,
You can still have your career and still do it on the side.
Who said you can't do all if you have...
You can even do all. Because
they are super person. Can be a wholesome person, very true.
You should have to use this.
Wow, amazing. What a way to usher in Christmas.
And end the show.
And end the show. We are ready.
All right, so tushamaliza kukata keki, sasa tunataka kukula sana.
Well, I was waiting for
you're welcome. And whatnot. No, I don't think she's ready for that.
She's been waiting.
She just wants to eat.
Okay, wow.
But lazima onje chumvi kwanza before wapatie.
Yes, ndio. It's true. Iko sawa, sasa unaweza kula.
Wow, thank you.
What happens at times, we find that some cakes when you eat, the cream is bitter. What normally happens?
Too much color or using cheap colors. But I also discourage people from using too much color when it comes to baking, because most of these colors are not really exactly organically obtained. So if you can, you see, she said we do a semi-naked. And if you can reduce as much as chemicals as possible, the better. So that's where they end up being bitter. Yeah, I think it's mostly color. Yeah.
Mostly color?
Yes.
Did you tell us about the sunkenness of the cake?
Yes, I told you it's about using too much liquid, banging the oven when the cake is not even halfway done. You should open the oven at least after like 30 minutes of being in the oven. And most ovens have a light, so you can see through how far the cake has gone, so you don't need to open.
Thank you very much, Esther. We really do appreciate your time just talking to us about this art.
Thank you, appreciate.
And of course, there's so much you could have conversed around, but we are really strapped for time, and so we have to cap it at this particular point. Nonetheless, highly appreciate.
I'm grateful to be here, and I look forward to many more, talking much more about even baking and entrepreneurship.
Okay, thank you.
I'm grateful. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you to you too.
We have been having this conversation, the three of us, the four of us. Actually, just talking about the art of cake baking, a good place to end this particular conversation and ultimately this segment. And also, good morning, Kenya, for the year that has been 2022. We always appreciate you just waking up with us 6:30 all the way to 10 a.m., tuning in, sending your comments, appreciating the work that we do. We do not take that for granted at all. We say thank you. From me and on behalf of the entire team, Asante Sana. And Merry Christmas. We now want to take a moment of silence. Just a moment of silence first.
Party.
has passed on. And it's just a moment of sadness, I should say, as a KBC family and KBC fraternity, and of course those that loved Vioja Mahakamani from way back to when it came back on air. You know, we really loved the prosecutor and how he just delivered his art. Rest in peace, Gibson Gazu. Perhaps Marie, Steph, what do you remember of the prosecutor?
The prosecutor, as you put it, I grew up watching him. Right from the time I was in primary school. You know, so I mean, I think I remember a lot about Vioja Mahakamani. Maybe much more than you guys, but yes, this was just the program to watch when we were growing up. It was the only comedy, kind of say, Bitimbi and Vioja Mahakamani. So it's sad. It's really sad.
For me, it's a very sad moment because I grew up enjoying Vioja Mahakamani because of Gibson Gathu, the late, and the other legends that we have there. So he's a legend. He goes down as someone that will remember even as time goes by in history. His name will be remembered. He made the program very lively as much as he was the prosecutor. He had his laughing moments, and you got the picture of how the courts usually is. It's not too serious, but may he rest in peace.
Yeah. Indeed, rest in peace, Gibson Gathu, and we also pray for comfort for his family.
To get Change Your Thinking Skiza tune, dial *811*961#.
When you change the quality of your thinking, you change the quality of your life. Sometimes instantly, just as positive words can make someone calm, smile or laugh, your thoughts will react to the world in real time. So, change the quality of your thinking.
Dial *811*961#. *811*961#.
So Jerry's are too busy to cook. They are doing business.
So therefore,
sometimes men are drinking. Yeah, me as a man I can say. So they have to do mashakura. They mix for you, they put for you.
No,
and a lot of coastal women are wonderful and idle. During this Christmas week, I'm alone. All my relatives are either dead or in America.
In Minnesota.
In Minnesota.
Yeah, because that's where your people.
Walikuwa Minnesota, wakaenda Minnesota.
Yeah, it's hot.
It's getting hot in here.
The Twitter has shifted from the old Twitter to the Twitter.
I don't care.
Hapa KBC Channel 1 tunawatakia kila samasi jamaa pamoja na mwaka mpya leo na mafanikio mazuri.
Hii ni Mitikasi leo, makala kutoka BBC. Yaliyomo, tunamwangazia kijana kutoka Gabon aliye na uzoefu wa kujinyoosha na kupinda viungo vyake mwilini. Baadaye taifa la Ghana lasitisha malipo ya deni lake la nje kutokana na kukosa kusawazisha pesa ilizonazo. Kisha tunazungumza na msanii kutoka Tanzania, Barnaba Classic, mubashara kutoka Nairobi, Kenya. Usibanduke.
Hujambo na karibu kwa toleo la leo, makala yanayoangazia habari za biashara zinazokuhusu, uchambuzi wa kina na mahojiano. Jina langu ni Hamida Abubakar. Huyu ni Jaures Kombila ambaye alipokuwa na umri wa miaka 7 aligundua kuwa anaweza kunyoosha na kupindua viungo vyake mwilini kwa urahisi kabisa. Licha unyanyapaa, kijana huyo wa Gabon amejiendeleza kwa kujifunza mwenyewe. Na kupitia mtandao wa kijamii ameweza kujimarisha kama mtaalamu wa uchoraji katuni nchini mwake. Yeye pia huwafunza watu wengine. Ndoto yake ni kutembea dunia nzima kwa maonyesho. Tazama.
Je peux faire avec mon corps des mouvements que vous ne pouvez.
Ninaweza kuupinda mwili wangu kwa njia isiyo ya kawaida, hata uweze kufikiria.
On me traitait de sorcier, mais maintenant
nimekuwa nikichekwa na hata unyanyapaa, wakiniita mchawi.
Des contrats, il m'arrive de donner certains cours à d'autres personnes sous. Cette histoire a commencé.
Lakini sasa kipato changu kinatokana na kuwa mpindaji viungo vya mwili. Mtandao wa kijamii umenisaidia sana. Nimeweza kupata mikataba mbalimbali ya kufanya maonyesho na pia kuwapa mafunzo watu wanaojipinda mwili.
Mes parents prenaient ça pour un jeu.
Yote haya yalianzia utotoni wangu nikiwa na umri wa miaka 7. Nikitaka kucheza njia ya mpasuo, nilijaribu na nikaenda chini. Nilifanikiwa bila kujiumiza. Hapo ndio nikaanza kufahamu kwamba mwili unaweza kujipinda sana, na bado najitahidi kujiendeleza. Kila nikifanya kazi huwa najiendeleza zaidi.
Moi au début ça me faisait très mal.
Wazazi wangu walifikiria ni mchezo tu, lakini mama yangu ndio mara nyingine hukasirika kwa vile tukiwa tunakula kuzungusha mguu wangu shingoni namna hii.
Là ça a juste baissé parce qu'on me voit maintenant passer à la télé dans certaines chaînes ici au pays. Je vis de la controverse.
Nimepitia matatizo mengi, dhihaka na hata unyanyapaa. Mwanzoni hayo yaliniumiza sana. Wakati mwingine hata kufikiria niache yote haya. Lakini jamaa zangu waliniunga mkono sana, waliniambia usiwache. Hata hivyo nimepitia mabaya mengi sana. Hivi sasa mambo ni sawa kwa sababu watu wananiona kwenye TV katika baadhi ya idhaa za nchi.
D'entraîner certaines personnes en collaboration, de donner certains cours à d'autres personnes souples.
Nikiwa mpinda viungo, ndoto yangu ni kutaka kusafiri na kutembelea dunia nzima, kushiriki katika maonyesho kadhaa ya kimataifa na hata kusaini mikataba na mashirika ya sarakasi na mengineyo.
Dans des cirques et autres.
Na kwa sasa tupe macho taarifa zingine za biashara kutoka barani Afrika na kimataifa. Ghana imesitisha malipo ya madeni yake mingi ya nje. Hii ina maana kwamba taifa hilo linashindwa kulipa madeni yake kufuatia kukosa kusawazisha pesa ilizonazo sawa na madeni inayotakiwa kulipa. Hata hivyo, Wizara ya Fedha imesema haitalipa madeni, ikiwa ni pamoja na ile ya Eurobond, mikopo ya kibiashara, ikitaja uamuzi huo kama hatua ya dharura ya muda mfupi. Rwanda imesema iko tayari kuwapokea waomba hifadhi kutoka Uingereza baada ya mahakama kuu nchini humo kutoa uamuzi kuwa mpango kushughulikia wahamiaji unaohusisha mataifa ya Afrika Mashariki ni halali. Mahakama hiyo pia iliamuru mpango kwa watuma wanaotafuta hifadhi nchini Rwanda kwamba ni halali, lakini ikaeleza kwamba serikali iweze kuzingatia uhalali wa kila kesi na kuacha shauku kuhusu ni lini au iwapo sera hiyo yenye utata itaanza kutekelezwa rasmi. Baada ya 9% pekee ya wapiga kura waliojiandikisha kujitokeza kupiga kura katika uchaguzi wa ubunge nchini Tunisia, duru ya pili ya uchaguzi itafanyika katika wilaya nyingi za bunge baada ya wagombea 21 pekee kupata ushindi katika duru ya kwanza. Duru ya pili itafanyika Januari 20. Hii ni mitikasi leo kutoka BBC, tutakayoangazia hivi punde ziara ya msanii kutoka Tanzania Barnaba Classic nchini Uingereza. Karibu tena. Msanii na mtunzi wa nyimbo kutoka Tanzania Barnaba Classic amekuwa nchini Uingereza kuhudhuria hafla mbalimbali. Anafahamika kushirikiana na wasanii tofauti katika tasnia ya muziki nchini humo. Hivi karibuni alizindua albamu yake kwa jina Love Sounds Different. Waziri Hamsin amezungumza naye kufahamu shughuli zilizompeleka Uingereza.
Muziki unazidi kuwa ajira iliyo rasmi kwa vijana Tanzania, na kwa kuangalia masoko ya kitaifa lazima tutoke tujifunze mambo mengi. Ndio maana niko hapa, lakini pia ninatua na kuja kufanya media tour yangu ya album yangu Love Sounds Different, lakini pia nina show hapa 2-3 zikiongozwa na dada yangu Ledna na some promoters ambao wako kwenye miji tofauti. na kuja kuangalia namna gani au tunaweza tukapenetrate kuendelea kupata nafasi zaidi.
Album yako hii mpya ambayo ina nyimbo 18 Love Sounds Different, na umewashirikisha wasanii wakubwa wengi Tanzania. Kwa nini?
Kilichoni amuru kufanya hivyo, kama unavyojua generation inabadilika, au kizazi cha muziki bongo flavor tulichokifanya sisi miaka 10 iliyopita na kizazi cha leo ni vitu viwili tofauti, na kwa sisi ambao tumekaa muda mrefu na kuendelea kupata baraka za masikio ya watu wengi na Watanzania wengi, ni lazima tuende na kile kizazi kilichopo, na njia pekee ni lazima ujichanganye na kizazi kinachokuja kwenye muziki. Na kama unavyojua vijana wengi ambao nimeweka kwenye albamu yangu wengi ni zao la sasa, na niliamua kufanya hivyo kuweka A-list kwa sababu pia nilikuwa nasherehekea miaka 18 ya muziki. Kama unavyojua kwenye kuhitimu hilo nimeona ni waarika watu wengi nao kuja kufanya nao kazi, lakini pia sijaje kuwa na collab nyingi na wasanii wengi. Kwa ilikuwa ni kama uwanja wangu wa kufanya nao na kusherehekea safari yangu ya muziki kwa muda mrefu sana.
Miaka 18 kwenye game si mchezo. Lakini wengi wanakufahamu, ndio unaimba Barnaba, lakini pia wanakufahamu kama ni mwandishi mzuri sana.
Ni kweli, ni kweli.
Vipi unawezaje yani kuchanganya haya?
Kama unavyojua mimi nilianza kusoma muziki nikiwa THT Tanzania Soft Talent, kipindi hicho Mariam Ruga akiwa kwa hai. Namshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu, nilianza kwa kuandika na kucheza instrument au kucheza vyombo au ala za muziki kabla kuja kuwa mwimbaji, na nilianza kufanya hivyo kwa sababu nilikuwa producer, nilikuwa composer, kama sehemu ya uandaji mara nyingi nilikuwa